This is peak Overwatch.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, what you've all been waiting for.
And now it's go time.
Here we go.
Bloody hands, my eyes wide, I got one chance. No sleep till I'm enhanced. Fight hard to keep my stance. Knuckle up, time to buckle up. I got one shot and I won't stop. One goal for the joyride. I'm a champion. Move aside.
What? Oh, okay. Are you kidding me?
Taking over the game.
What am I watching? They might just be doing it.
He's a god. He's a god.
Yeah.
Oh!
Full force, I'm unleashed, so don't speak. Grandmaster, don't sleep. Victory, it tastes so sweet. Knuckle up, time to buckle up. I got one shot and I won't stop. One goal for the joyride. I'm a champion. Move aside. Let's go.
Hello and welcome back to the Overwatch League. I am Doa. With me is ZP. It's time for more late night with Doa and ZP. Of course, you know who wouldn't be more excited about that? I don't know, not us. Probably we're the most hyped about watching the games. But guess what? We've got Guangzhou Charge versus Seoul Dynasty to start things off tonight. It's going to be a great match, ZP. I feel like this one could go to the distance. We were just talking about this actually, and I feel like these teams could play pretty close. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. These are teams that you look at yesterday in particular. The Charge were an overperforming factor against the Dragons where, yeah, they got 3-0'd, but, throw an asterisk on it. It didn't really tell the full story of what happened. And then Seoul, many people thought they'd go in and take down a Philly that was supposed to be weaker. And guess what? With Hop on Toby, it was anything but the case. Philly came out strong. And, Seoul now, a team with something to prove, despite, many people thinking they were one of the absolute, top two teams in the APAC region. So you combine the two together, it makes for what should be a good match here today.
Yeah, both pretty decent teams that ran into very tough opponents yesterday. I think both teams looking for that first win today. They've met in the past. The overall record is 4-4 between Charge and Dynasty, but notably, Charge has only won one of those games in the regular season. So the old playoff buffer Seoul, we know all about it. But let's kind of take more of a micro look at this matchup and compare the two main tanks on these squads. It's going to be a look at Rio versus Gesture. And obviously, the numbers seem to favor Rio a little bit on this screen, don't they?
Yeah, they definitely favor Rio a little bit, but then you think about how Gesture plays, where when Gesture goes in, especially the way Seoul plays around him, it's usually an entire party that's coming on with him, and he doesn't leave until he finishes off elimination, so his stats are going to be lower, but a lot of the time that's because when Gesture goes in, it's a full group effort, and usually ending with him taking at least one person out. It's a very all-or-nothing style you tend to see from Gesture, whereas I'd say from the Charge, it's a little bit more balanced, particularly on the main tank end.
The Charge have definitely, in our huge sample size of one match so far this season at least, the Charge have looked much more methodical, much more thoughtful about their approaches. You think about their long, winding attack on Blizzard World yesterday, which was the map that they tied against Shanghai Dragons. It was good. It was well executed, well thought out. Meanwhile, on the other side, Seoul has been just maximum aggression, right? And if everything doesn't quite line up with Gesture's decision to engage, it can get a little bit crazy. But let's take a look at the team lineups going into tonight. First off is going to be the Guangzhou Charge. Again, coming into this one 0-1. But like CP and I were saying earlier, it was a close match against the Shanghai Dragons. The first two maps especially were really, really tight. It got a little bit downhill from there, but I think this is still going to be a strong team and a fun team to watch this season.
Yeah, and you look at the members of this team, a lot of people are wondering, hey, will the Charge be good with so many prominent players leaving? And then all those fears kind of went away when they watched Choi yesterday, Choi Siwon. And just the level of play coming out was insane. Hit scan play that you would want on any team, and something that was really giving the Dragons a whole lot of trouble up until the end. So a lot to look forward to on this new Charge roster.
Yeah, Choi Siwon versus Prophet is going to be one of the marquee matchups of this matchup for sure. I want to mention, too, Kariv, one of my favorite players to watch in Overwatch for a long, long time. Of course, he joins the ranks of great flex supports like Jonak and Jaehong, in my opinion, and he's been a great addition to the Charge. He's kind of brought that veteran sort of calm, I think, vibe to the comms, if I had to guess, and I think he's going to be a good addition to the team. Meanwhile, on the other side, we of course have the Seoul Dynasty. Now, Seoul Dynasty, ZP, this is a team, again, that's coming into this 0-1. They ran into a Philly Fusion that was a bit stronger than I think they expected. Now, that said, Fusion did have Toby, which may have acted a little bit of a double agent. You know, there's not a ton of players left from Toby's era on Seoul Dynasty, but, you know, maybe have a little bit of insight in there. And then, of course, you know, you just had situations where I felt Seoul Dynasty was kind of red. You know, to a certain extent, the way that this team engages off the back of Gesture's aggression can be a little bit easy to read sometimes, can it?
Yeah, and key point there is that, you know, maybe Toby, as he joined the team, as you mentioned, the Whisper, he whispered just a few words of wisdom, particularly shoot Gesture first. And, you know, oftentimes when you're up against Seoul, if you punish the fact that, you know, Seoul is so decisive and you focus fire on the Gesture first, you can turn the all or nothing at times into just nothing and make Seoul rethink their game plan and throw them off guard. And, you know, we saw a little bit about that yesterday, and we'll see how Seoul rebounds here today, because, I mean, Seoul is adaptable. It's just sometimes they do get stuck in a bit of a rut, especially in the regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anyone who's been a Seoul fan or really watched their games for a while knows that the regular season is, you know, just a warm-up for Seoul Dynasty. We're going into Busan for our first map of the day. It is going to be the control map, of course, and we're going to get things started, see who takes the early lead. But, you know, you bring up a good point, of course, with Gesture as well. I remember watching their Dorado match back again from yesterday's series of games, and there would be situations where Animo would be on the low ground with Brigitte, creative on Ana, of course, and, like, Prophet would come back to get some healing, and Gesture's like, all right, I'm going in. And Creative's like, no, wait, I can't heal you. And then, you know, then he'd go down. So just getting a little bit more, I think, synergy, a little bit more in sync would help this team out a lot. I'm not talking the boy band. I'm talking Overwatch team skill.
Oh, man, that's just
Did you like NSYNC, ZP?
I know, if I didn't like NSYNC, I was kind of forced to when they just played their songs over and over again when I worked at a Burger King. It kind of got implanted into my mind by the power of promotion. That's what corporations do. But forget the corporations. I want to see Prophet versus Choi.
That's right. We also have Krong, of course, on the Sigma right now.
Goodbye.
What? Jihan, all right, takes a dive early, and that's, I think, going to cause everybody else to leap off as well. Yeah, we do see people backing away immediately, and that's going to be probably a pretty quick early point take for Seoul. I mean, it hadn't even unlocked yet, but, you know, it's tough to see exactly what happened there. It looked on our screen like Jihan just simply went off the edge of the map, decided to Mario stomp his way out there. But yeah, okay, I was going to say, I figured there was something that knocked him off. But
yeah,
that was a Seoul will take it.
Yeah, that was a clear call an ambulance, but not for me moment as Jihan goes like, I got engaged. And, oh, not anymore. Off the edge you go.
Yep, exactly. Fitz, of course, going to be pretty deadly on that Ashe. Definitely something to worry about. Meanwhile, 2U on the Sigma, trading blows with his counterpart, Krong, on the other side. And right now, I like this. Seoul, yeah, taking a pretty firm defensive position. And right now, it just seems like Charge waiting for the right moment, building a little bit of ultimate percentage. Oh, how about that? Gesture goes down. That's what we were talking about, ZP.
Yeah, with Jihan taking down Gesture early on, you know, you focus fire Gesture, gets a little bit aggro. You got the 6v5. Now what are they going to do with it? You look towards Choi, heading in off the flank, and oh man, Choi going after optics again to a degree, bring back that nightmare, that Void experience. But the Charge are playing this kind of slow here, Doa, where you think there'd be a full engage after going up one, but instead you give Prophet enough time to tear down Krong, and all of a sudden, Seoul, they're going to hold.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that Charge didn't pull the trigger on that one a little bit quicker, so to speak. I mean, with Gesture going down, you'd think that would be the go button. I don't think there was a whole lot of ultimate concerns there. Meanwhile, Choi So-on trying to take matters into his own hands, but no, Prophet says slap, and you're going back to spawn. It's the Tracer matchup we were wondering about. It. So far, it's gone Prophet's way.
Yeah, and right now, this is a bit of a problem for the Charge. The Dynasty at 76% to 0. Only one team fight remaining here for the Charge to turn things around, Doa.
Yep, that's right. They waited so long to engage that Seoul's basically got this round unless something turns around in a hurry. That said, June with the ultimate. He's got the mines ready to go. Kaylee has Bob ready to toss onto the point as well. Karif Krong getting theirs pretty soon too. Meanwhile, 2U uses the Gravitic Flux. No kills result from that just yet, but they do draw out Karif's Transcendence. Good start. Oh, Kaylee's Bob is out of commission already. Animo just knocks it out of the way.
The Charge
and Kensel hold on to it.
It's 99-0 now. Now the Charge moving. Oh, Prophet finds Mondu, takes out the Pulse Bomb. Meanwhile, Kaylee off the map on the other end. And Prophet just keeping firm control of the Tracer. Nothing crazy the Dynasty defending territory here, and Prophet being surgical, and more than anything else, it hasn't been on screen a whole lot. But I believe what's been going into this quite a bit is that both Prophet and Fitz have been keeping a close eye on Choi, and I think part of Seoul's game plan here is saying, look, we saw it happen yesterday, and if nothing else, we're not going to lose to just one Tracer player. You're going to need to do a little bit more than that charge. And, for a player that was so dynamic and explosive yesterday, Choi was kept a lot more in check, but it's just one round, Noah.
Only one round, ZP, but a pretty notable round, as that was a different look charge than we saw before. And I think you brought up a really good point in terms of Seoul is doing a better job of protecting their main tanks from the menace of Choi Se-wan. But on the other side, Charge, dare I say, looked a little bit timid in that round. So this one, we'll see if they can summon the aggression at the train station to punch their ticket to a third round.
Well, one interesting thing here, we're going to have a difference in comps. You take a look at the Charge side, they're moving in with the Mercy BAP. You got Brigida and Zen on the other side. So, I mean, Creative's going to have to watch his back throughout the entire part here. It's going to, you'll have Animo covering it to a degree, but if you're Choi, maybe you go off the tanks and you go for the Zen a little more.
Yeah, quite possibly. I also wonder if we're going to have Mandu do a little bit of damage boosting on Kariv as well. Help the Batiste do a little bit more damage.
Choi.
It's going to be on Kaylee mostly, I think. But you know me, I always want the damage boost on the flex support. I can't help it.
Yeah, of course.
Kariv, meanwhile,
it's on
gesture down early.
Yeah, it's a game plan. We talked about it. You focus gesture, and as tempting as it might be to go for the Zen, this is the Charge sticking to the game plan. What they went against the Dragons yesterday, and Choi being surgical finally goes down, but enough has been done here, Doa, where, in contrast to the last round where Seoul got in first, in part because of the whip shot, this is going to be a pretty clean first take in here for the Charge.
Yeah, it was indeed, and I think although the Brigida for Animo looked like a good way to handle Choi Se-wan, in the end, it was Kaylee that was laying down a lot of damage that Seoul just didn't seem to be able to handle. We're going to get a chance to regroup here, but good amount of ultimates ready to go, or nearly ready to go, on Charge as Seoul approaches one. Fitz, you can see, just looking for a few shots on Krong's Diva. Not finding a ton of it, though. Here we go. Gesture getting aggressive. Here comes the ball. Grieve lays down the wall. And Seoul managing. Yeah, Seoul picking up a lot of kills right now. Prophet finds Mandu. Prophet finds two. And there will be rounds, ZP, where Prophet just decides to put it on his back.
Yeah, I mean, that was over just as it began. And I mean, that goes to the entire idea of the Seoul having decisive engages where Gesture came in, got an immediate good engage. Prophet there in the follow through. And as a result, Seoul comes back in, but still a much better start for the Charge relative to the last round.
Yeah, pretty much. They got percentage at least. That's going to be an advantage. Either way, that's an improvement.
Got Kaylee on
Kaylee
top
trying
here.
to find some shots off the high ground. You really got to be careful with that Zenyatta right click though coming at you. Oh, and how about Fitz finding the headshot onto Choi Se-wan's Tracer? Yeah, Seoul seems really ready for that Tracer, don't they?
Yeah, and I mean, part of this is what we were saying before, where both Fitz and Prophet are taking extra special care to try and keep Choi in check. And Kaylee, though, fired back. Choi out of the fight early, and this is where Charge can really make an opening. They're going to start hanging at Krog, heading in, trying to contest the Ashe a little bit more. Choi comes in from the other side, goes, okay, a little bit of revenge. Now, Choi, what else do you have to work with here? Over the top, looking at the Brigida, doesn't want to challenge it directly. Mine's still denying the point a bit here, so even with the early pickoff, Seoul's buying a lot of time, Doa.
Well, that's the thing. I'm sure Choi Se-wan would have wanted to drop down, but like you said, the mines from Gesture was still sitting there. Now Prophet finds an opportunity, throws up the Pulse Bomb, finds Mandu with it. That's a big one, and now he's going to go after Kariv as well. Both supports down, courtesy of Prophet, and the percentage growing for Seoul. They are looking for the 2-0 in this round, and Tuyu throws out the grab for just a little bit more lockdown. Prophet gets to fleeing Jihan, and Seoul looks like they have this one pretty much locked up, unless maybe Charge can find a way to win a miracle fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's not over yet, but it's getting pretty close.
Yeah.
Right now, you look at both teams. The hardest part for Charge is that they have to run into the rally, so they're looking to try and take down Animo super early in this fight. 96% though, so the time to go is now. Kaylee, over the top, should be looking for Animo in this situation. Overtime in progress. Charge already pretty low, and Seoul biding their time, waiting till last one. Now they're going to use rally. It's up to Charge to find a way in.
Yeah, they got the armor. Charge has to find a way, like you said, to flip this point right now. Mandu did swap to the Brigida. There's a Pulse Bomb, though, onto Mandu, and that's not going to help Charge at all. That's not going to do them any favors. It looks like it's all cleanup for Seoul here, unless maybe Kron can do it. But no, they can't get to the point, and Seoul Dynasty takes a 2-0 on Busan to start things off.
And big difference from what we saw against the Dragons yesterday, but the thing I will continually point to is that we kind of saw the Achilles heel of Seoul come up a few times here. A gesture went in and got immediately blown up, but on the same note, Charge wasn't particularly swift in taking advantage of that, and part of it is that they're so reliant on Choi to go in and create opportunities, and Choi was getting checked really, really hard by the Seoul DPS line.
Yeah, I wonder, ZP, though, what we're going to see in the coming maps when a gesture dying early means a lot more, because it's going to mean the end of the push instead of just a weaker assault on the control point. We'll have to wait and see, though. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we will find out if Charge can tie this series up or if Seoul gets a higher lead than they already have. Don't go anywhere. Overwatch League is coming right back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. Seoul Dynasty takes a quick 2-0 on Busan for the lead over the Guangzhou Charge. And ZP, you and I were talking about it during the break, and it really just seemed like Seoul had Choi Sung-wan's number, as he couldn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with playing Tracer is that if you have another Tracer that's hunting you and playing more defensively, which Prophet really was. You didn't see Prophet immediately going super aggro to get kills. It was a much more defensive style Tracer, followed up by the fact that Fitz was just sort of backing things up, and it was really well illustrated on the last round where Choi just turns a corner, immediately gets bopped by the Ashe. I mean, Choi basically had to run an obstacle course to get anything done, and Seoul kind of went into this going, look, you can beat us in any number of ways. Sure, you can focus down just early, but you know what way you're not going to beat beat us. We're not going to let Choi just do anything he wants. And what better person to check another Tracer than Prophet, right? I mean, it's one of the very best people you can imagine for the role. So, the Charge weren't quite able to be as impressive as they were yesterday against the Dragons in that same situation. But, part of that is that, hey, there's some game tape here. You kind of know how the Charge play now.
Yeah. So the question is, can they adapt? I feel like once we get away from control maps too, we get to see how the teams really play. As we get things started here, it's going to be the Charge on attack, Seoul Dynasty on defense early. Kaylee just throwing out that Sonic Arrow to try to get a little glimpse maybe of the defensive setup for Seoul, but doesn't see much, so it's time to push ahead.
There's not going to be any Brigida for Seoul this time around, so in theory, Choi have a little bit more room to harass the supports, but again, he has to get through the iron wall. That is going to be Prophet and Fitz that have been looking for him this entire time.
So just a little bit of a poke there to see what Seoul has to offer. Kron goes back and swaps over to the Diva, actually. So going for something a little bit more easy to access the high ground with, and of course absorb the dynamite like we just saw too. That helps.
Yep, and
Prophet,
now we're
though,
getting
you
to
can see he's been,
The team fight's about to begin here, and you take a look between the two. Prophet over and in. Now Rio decides to engage in over the top, behind Seoul. Both teams feeling each other out, and Charge is trying to come at this from multiple angles. Kron, a little bit more pressure on the Prophet. You have to wonder if Prophet's over here. Where's Choi? Choi on the other end, and he actually came from the side, got Prophet for the double team. They got rid of the threat, and now they have the clear 6-on-5.
Prophet was trying so hard to defend that hotel area, and Choi Sun-Wan managed to find a way to go in and get that killing blow. Meanwhile, Krong does finish off Tuyu as well. So it's looking like Charge may be able to take a pretty quick point A here. Nano boost onto Rio is going to help seal the deal. And you gotta love it. Like, the swap to Diva for Krong was just perfect, right? As we see Rio continue to push Seoul back and help them secure the point, because what the Diva can do, you don't get the shield to put on the Winston, but what you do get, as Prophet does find a kill in 3, what you do get is a much more aggressive engage, and that's exactly what the Doctor ordered for point A, at least for Charge.
Yeah, and also you kind of notice that once Prophet was out of the fight, Choi was suddenly able to go in deep and do extra things where, Prophet has been the bouncer and bodyguard here. Now, as you go into the next fight, ult economy a little bit rougher here for the Charge creative. They had a boost ready to go.
Yep, that's right. They had to use a little bit to take point A. I think they'll be happy with that. But now it's on Seoul to try to get a defense going. A lot of times you want to get that started around this choke point here. Payload moving through already. Checking it out from Kariv's point of view, you can see again Charge being very methodical, very safe. Ooh, gotta be so careful not to get picked off by the Ash. Actually, Bob goes in, gets slept, but pops back up immediately. Gestures didn't hit the go button anyway, though. Gets Kariv. Now Mondu, Rio, everybody going down, and Seoul Dynasty will find that successful defense early. Whoa, we're going pure gesture now. Pops the Primal Rage. CP, I kind of feel like that fight was a little bit over. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I mean, at some point, man, it's like, I don't need this for the next fight. That's fine. And look,
peak gesture right there. He's like, I can get more kills.
But that wasn't a fight that I really expected Charge to win anyways. And you look at the next fight, Seoul still stocked with options, but see how Charge says out. His Choi is on a very long flank. But now, the supports at the same time. The engage already in. Choi, 95%. Rio, Primal Rage, working towards the back. Pulse bomb right for Choi, still waiting. That's one bomb. Wasn't even the pulse bomb. The explosion goes for the stick, gets it. And yet, still alive. Nice bubble.
Yeah, that's right. Got to avoid that with the bubble. There's a grab coming through as well on the payload. Seoul trying to hold on to this defense after the big aggression from Charge. But they are getting forced back a little bit. The payload is moving, but it might get stalled out soon.
Yeah, I mean, Seoul's done a really good job of delaying out this fight for what could have been a lot more decisively engaged. They're buying a good amount of time. And now, see Charge coming back in, Transcendence used, looking for anything on this as they go. And now here comes Gesture, Nano Boost, looking to bring it the other way.
Yep, that's right. Bob's pretty weak right now. They're going to have him out of the way pretty soon. Yep, he does go. Goes down, tries to handle Krong in the room here. Looks like he can. There's the DMEC, but Tuyu down, and Fitz manages to find a headshot on a Choi Se-wan as well. So it's give and take right now. Both teams finding kills, but at the end of the day, the payload's still moving forward slowly. Ooh, but that may change.
Yeah, the payload just hit the brakes there, is what he says. Like, let's move forward. Not anymore. Prophet comes back in. and style. And this is actually a really tough sequence of events for the Charge because they had moments where they got a few early pickoffs. They weren't able to make it decisive. Dynasty was able to flood back in, and only 2 minutes left remaining here, and the Charge has spent a lot of time on point B.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Seoul Dynasty is like the Overwatch equivalent of like Marth from Smash Brothers, where it's like whenever you try to attack him, the guy just down Bs and then just deflects, just counters it.
Also perfect DI.
Really low.
Well, the Charge, I think they're actually going to look to engage off this now. Rio's in the back, has Primal, when things get a little bit spicy, but Prophet got to the back. He took down Kariv, and this is where probably he's going to jump down and go, I got one, why not a little bit more? And you have to look at where Gesture's going to be coming in here. He's holding on to Primal, holding. Now it's going to be a bit of a slap fight here in the tavern.
That's right. Monkey fight in the tavern. Meanwhile, Gesture, though, he has his ult for a little bit longer. Going to go in. Gets hit with the sleep dart, though. Gets woken up, getting much out of it. Yeah, Prophet does get the kill on the Mandu as well. Gesture helping out. And really, this has been the Prophet and Gesture show so far on the defense here. And Charge starting to struggle a little bit.
It's been really, really tough, and you also wonder at some point here where, they've been running Mandu and the Brigida, but it hasn't really done a whole lot to slow down Prophet because the way Prophet's been playing, he's been playing so defensive that, he's just kind of ignoring Mandu, and on the other end, I do think a decent amount of value has been had for Seoul on the Mercy.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to give some respect to the res, to the damage boost on Fitz from time to time as well. Been able to turn that into a lot, and here we go, another nano boost onto Gesture right now. What can he make with it? Looks like he just has to back off for now. Ooh, there's the grab, though.
Self-destructive by Choi there, takes out Toyo at the cost of himself. And honestly, if you're Seoul, you take that trade because here's the thing. Prophet's been playing bodyguard, but when Choi's out of the fight, Prophet also can just dive in with Gesture on all these crazy dive-ins that they've been having. And, again, Seoul on the cleanup. Not a whole lot to fear right now.
Yeah, not a lot indeed, and you even saw Fitz moving forward, like you said, getting damage boost by Animo, working out pretty well. Creative even adds his own stamp to the kill feed as well. Can anyone even get back to the payload? Yeah, they do force the overtime, but can they hold on to it? It's going to be tough. Ryu does manage to get out with his life, but they're going to need Rio back pretty soon here. Yeah, okay, there we go. Nano boost from Crib onto Rio. He's going in. He's got the Primal Rage as well to use. ZP, can they do it?
Yeah, he's using it right now, although he's not getting a ton. He has to spend a lot of this nano away from the point. Meanwhile, though, Kaylee, late Widow Swap, finds Fitz. Comes at a cost, though. Gesture immediately punish Rio. Super deep going, I want to get at least one support. Gets the Graviton support. And the tank line for the Charge, taking matters into their own hands. It's a heavy investment, but we're in overtime. It's what they had to do.
I mean, there's no choice, right? It's do or die right there, and they managed to put together a team fight win. Pretty huge grab at the end there by Krong, saving it for the right moment. Now Kaylee with the swap over to the Sombra too, so going to be going for some flanks, going to be trying to find some hacks, an Animo creative, maybe Gesture if they can, but they've got a new lease on life on this point now. That's the last thing Seoul wants to have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, this is where Kings Row can also get away with you a little bit. You almost have the point B hold, and suddenly a team gets a surge of life a little bit later on. And now we'll see if there's anything else in the tank. Ult's certainly not in the Charge's favor here, unless Choi lands a Pulse Bomb. Still very possible.
I mean, yeah, with everything he did yesterday, but he was really kind of abusing Void Sigma more than anything, and we haven't seen as much of that from Seoul. Prophet now looking for a few kills here. Chosewan didn't find anything with that Pulse Bomb after all. So ZP, I think we're going to see maybe a quick reset. Yep, quick reset from Charge, and they have like one more try at this, it feels like.
Yeah, we're down to the final 30 seconds here, Doa, and it's not looking great for the Charge, where this is an unfortunate moment where you need a hero play, because certainly on the ult side of things, it's not looking good. Gesture as a nano, he's going to be heading directly at you with it.
Yeah. Exactly. Give that right away to Ryu. Rio is going to be able to use that nano boost possibly to build his Primal Rage. They've got the tools, but here comes a nano boost in Monkey right now. Gesture going in hard.
Yeah, both Winston's going in with nano. Rio on one side, Gesture on the other. And we're looking at Rio trying to get something done. Just punches Creative out of the fight. Choi able to find Fitz at the same time. A two-man advantage now for the Charge. Getting the better of it here so far. Gesture's down. His nano is over. And the Charge, when it's at the very end here, they've just about done it to bring things to the end here at Kings Row.
I mean, we talked about when Seoul struggles and when they struggle as the finish line is crossed by Charge. When Seoul struggles is when Gesture goes in and doesn't have support. He gets deleted immediately, and because Rio was coming the other way on Charge at the same time, Seoul just had too much to worry about. Meanwhile, on the other side, Charge just backed off, created a concave, and took down Gesture. So just when it came down to it, you know, a tale of two monkeys, and it was Charge in the end that had the better setup.
Yeah, and a little bit of life in the Charge there too, where, you know, I think there was some adaptations we saw where Rio and Krong found good opportunities. I mean, it's easy to forget here as we're talking a lot about Gesture and the Seoul side of things, and talking about the big impact of Choi for the Charge, but, you know, Rio and Krong is still a really, really good tank line. Krong, you know, a huge dark horse favorite for a lot of people as they watched APAC last year, and, you know, you look towards the point B push that they had where Rio and Krong both seize the opportunity between the Primal and the Grab, where Rio sets it up with the Primal, gets pretty low, think things are looking a little bit dark. Krong comes in, finishes off with a well-placed Graviton, and it's the difference between this push for the Charge ending at point B and ending at point C, where, yeah, there's no time bank left, but this is still winnable now for the Charge.
I'm looking forward to working.
And I mean, that you know, the tail of Charge on their point B attack specifically is just sort of, you know, why it pays so well to have such a great flex tank, because even if it is all about the dives, you know, with your Winston, with the support you get from the nano boost and all that, you gotta count on those Graviton surges to set things up when things go awry, you know. They'll teleport on the high ground. This is an approach we've been seeing quite a bit from teams lately.
This is a pretty aggro approach here for the Dynasty. Also, sometimes you'll see teams wait a little bit before going in. Dynasty goes, no, we don't have to wait. We're directly in, and why not?
Why not?
Takes down Choi, and you got the 6v5, and there's not going to be any more chill. You see Gesture, he's already very deep on the other side, and why not?
It's over.
One fight.
Yeah, that point A is taken very, very quickly by Seoul Dynasty, and, you know, Fitz with a little bit of tactical crouching by the box there. Yeah, show that box who's boss. But, you know, it's when Fitz is able to get picks like that, it becomes very easy, right? And Fitz has quietly been having a pretty good series so far. He's been able to kind of deflect a lot of the aggression because of the chaos that Prophet and Gesture are sowing, and that leaves you open to get a lot of pretty easy shots sometimes.
Yeah, it really does. And also, you think about the threats of the Dynasty, right? Where, you know, Fitz has a lot of space because Gesture, I mean, he's hurling himself into the team, whether it's necessary or not. And it means that Fitz isn't always public enemy #1, not when Prophet is also playing bodyguard. So, you know, Fitz is landing his shots, which he should in this sort of situation. It's going to be good for the Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, like, people ask me, oh, all right, Gesture going in, has a nano boost again, just manages to push Charge it back a little bit. He's not done yet. There's a stun, though, and the Primal Rage has to be brought back as Rio does get the kill on the Gesture after all. Yeah, that was a little bit of an awkward one from Seoul Dynasty. They're going to give a little bit of ground, but not too much. As the Graviton Surge comes in, there it is from Tuyu. Grabs on both sides. Oh, but Choi Sewon with the 2K Pulse Bomb, and Charge is going to retake the defense.
I just love how you can track a lot of these Dynasty fights by the status of Gesture. Is he alive? Is he gone? Did he get a... Also, speaking of being pretty deep there, Gesture, you know?
I mean, hashtag just Gesture things, right?
Yeah.
People ask me what role Gesture plays. I say projectile DPS, like his body is a projectile.
Yeah, throws himself in there. And also, speaking of, a little bit of Winston posturing here, chest beating up over the top Doa between Rio and Gesture, and see some of the focus fire coming in.
Indeed. People hyped about King Kong versus Godzilla. How about King Kong versus King Kong in Overwatch here? Fitz back with the coach gun. Nearly has Bob, and again, just I feel like Fitz's positioning is some of the best AF positioning I've seen. He doesn't often find himself in a dangerous spot of his own making, you know? I'm definitely going to go back and watch his POV.
They got Rio going in, a little bit of an aggro charge here from the Charge. Not redundant at all. A little bit of slap from Rio, but is able to finish it off. And I like this from Rio at the very least, where disengaging a little bit early, realizing, okay, it didn't go as planned. Let's go back so we can re-engage. And, you know, now you got a little bit of tag team here between Rio and Choi as they look to the Seoul backline.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big difference between Rio and Gesture. Gesture will just go in every single time and never turn around unless he's dead. The only way back to spawn is through death, and that is going to be a huge teamfight win for Seoul Dynasty. And, you know, all they had to do was just sort of wait, right? You know, Charge expended a lot of their resources with those ultimates. Seoul says, all right, now it's our turn. We're going to have that engage, and Creative putting down Rio, and that's going to be a point B take for Seoul with a lot of time left on the clock. 4:26 available on point C.
Yeah, I mean, this is an immense amount of time left to defend point C, and yeah, it can be done, but the Charge are really going to have to reverse the tempo of this entire game, Doa, if they even want to keep this in winnable territory.
It's possible. It's not a likely defense, but we've seen it before. Charge has the tools, but can they put it all together? The longer that payload pushes in, the more pinned down they're going to be.
Here comes Gesture, in and over. Primal, ready to go, and this is how every party starts, and sometimes it ends with Gesture tuckering himself out, gets left, and they go for the focus fire right after, so Gesture's actually able to get out, but it does mean the Primal gone, though space is made for it, they get some distance in the process.
You know, part of this too is they've been using Gesture to just draw abilities and ultimates out of Charge to make it easier for Tuyu rather to do exactly what he's going to do, which is going to be a throw down the grab pretty soon. Although Fitz did die, so maybe they're going to wait with that one. We will see grabs going down for Krong instead. Profit though, and the rest of Seoul Dynasty using their own Zarya ultimate to win this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Seoul just seized on the opportunity. It's a great grab, and Profit very willing to go in and follow through. Where I've been impressed at just how measured Profit has been here, where, you know, at times you look at the DPS and you kind of expect a performance like we had from Choi yesterday, where, you know, Choi was just off making crazy plays all the time, and, you know, Profit again, very defensive tracer, waiting for other people to make opportunities in this particular series, and it's done a lot to just keep Seoul pretty safe.
What a boss. You know, Choi Se-Wan is probably feeling a little bit cheated on that one, where he's like, oh, that should have been a 4K, come on. Everyone else stealing my kills.
Yep.
It was a rough round, though, overall for the Charge. Seoul Dynasty with, you know, all the time in the world, really, to get this done on point A again.
Yep, and this is always, I've said before, I'll say it again, one of the most awkward moments in Overwatch, where you still got to play, and the prize you're playing for, you're not playing for the win anymore. You're playing for the draw if you're the Charge, where 3-minute hold on point A, Kings Row. It's happened, Doa. It's not a frequent occurrence. This is one of the hardest spots to find yourself in Overwatch if you're even just trying to get a draw.
Yeah, you know, we saw them force the draw yesterday against Shanghai Dragons on Blizzard World. That's a point A, though. That's a little bit easier to defend, in my opinion. Like you said, this one can be rough. You can see Fitz already and Profit just looking for the Sonic Arrow, but also maybe looking for just an early pick just to make things easier. Yeah, just throwing out the Storm Arrow as well. Just fishing for picks. Why not? Going to go for it anyway, though. No Symmetra hijinks. They are going to approach this a little bit more naturally.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You got plenty of time. You can sit back, you can read a book, and at some point in 3 minutes, probably take the point. This isn't something that the Dynasty have to play nearly as quick as they did on the first attack.
I like it.
But the focus fires in to get Rio, and that's the first domino to fall here, Doa. And bringing this back is going to be so hard for the Charge now, as, you know, the Dynasty not wasting any time, already halfway to the finish line.
Yep, make it 99% of the way. Make it all the way as Seoul Dynasty able to pick up another map win in a row. ZP, yeah, this is our only series of the night. We're looking at a possible 3-0 for Seoul Dynasty. I'm kind of hoping that we get another gamer. So I'm hoping that Charge gives us a little bit more life here as we go forward.
Yeah, I certainly hope so as well. And you take a look at, though, it kind of shows the power of both adaptation and changes from day to day between teams, and also matchups. I think you look at a team like the Dragons, where, look, there's a lot of hit scan talent on Dragons, but it's a team that historically likes running more projectile setups. You know what's really good, though, at checking a team that's relying on things like a Star Tracer? Having a team that just loves running double hit scan. And the way Seoul's been playing here, they've been containing the weapons of the Charge, and at the same time, just, you know, getting good, consistent progress and backing up Gesture most of the times when he goes in.
Yeah, I feel like we're seeing a much tighter usage of the engages from Gesture today than we did yesterday. It's encouraging if you're a Seoul fan. Guangzhou Charge, though, need to dig deep if they want to stay in the series. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see if they can do just that, or if we get the Seoul Dynasty 3-0. Don't go anywhere. Overwatch League's coming back just in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch. TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to Overwatch League, where Seoul Dynasty is just one map win away from getting the quickest series I think we've seen yet this weekend. ZP Charge really is having a tough time doing what they did against Shanghai Dragons, at least that found a bit of success in the first couple maps, but today they just kind of look outclassed, honestly.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, you kind of wonder what the impetus is here. Is that you look at, is Charge necessarily playing worse than yesterday? I don't necessarily think so. Is Seoul playing a lot better? Absolutely. Is Seoul playing better because they looked at what the Charge were doing yesterday? Maybe. I mean, certainly game plan-wise it looks like that. Also, Seoul could just be outright mad where they had a pretty rough initial show again. You know, the Charge, unfortunately, are the team that have to settle for the wrath of the Dynasty here, where the Dynasty is just playing really well.
Yeah, one of the things you and I were talking about during the break, too, is that I think Seoul is specifically today doing a much better job of working to you into the pushes, where Gesture is able to go in, draw a lot out of the enemy team, makes for easier big Graviton Surge plays on the Zarya. We saw that make a big difference on point B, on their attack on King's Row, and a big point on C on King's Row. So that's something I feel like they lacked against Fusion yesterday when I went back and watched those games with a replay viewer today. And so it's cool to see things coming together a little bit more for Seoul Dynasty. And keep in mind, this is not the norm when these two teams meet in the regular season. They are 4-4 against each other lifetime, but only one of Seoul's wins have come during the regular season. The rest were all playoff victories. So this could be Seoul Dynasty ZP kind of turning over a new leaf.
I love stats like that because it really drives home the point that Seoul in a lot of ways is just sort of reverse NYXL. Where, bear in mind, NYXL actually did have a pretty good postseason performance last season. But, you know, the Dynasty, it's like mid-league regular season, really good postseason with their core and, you know, opposite.
Well, I mean,
true for New
now
York.
Seoul's got that combination of London and NYXL on their team, so who knows, what like precedents from previous teams will take hold as the season goes on. But either way, Seoul looking very, very good. We're going to go into our next map, which is going to be Havana, I believe. It's going to be our payload map, and it's going to be the last chance for the Guangzhou Charge to start to get some momentum going in this series. If they lose this one, it's over. Seoul gets a 3-0. If Charge wins, though, we get to keep going. We get to cast more games. I kind of hope that happens. No bias. But, hey, Seoul Dynasty 3-0 would be a pretty decent statement victory here this weekend for them.
Yeah. Now, one thing you have to wonder here for the Charge, and this would be a great map to do it simply because it is a very different map than a lot of the other maps in the pool, sans like Junkertown, which is on the same wavelength in Havana, is that, do you change things up here? Do you go, okay, Tracer carry is something that worked out really well for us against the Dragons, but it's not working right now. Do you swap things up? And you're down 2 maps here, though. If there's ever a time for the Charge to embark on a different strategy, I feel like it'd be now. And bear in mind, the double shield probably was game planned here from the beginning.
Yeah, both teams going with that double shield. Really, the only difference is coming in the Sombra versus the Tracer and the Zenyatta versus the Baptiste for Charge. As Charge is on the attack, Seoul Dynasty on the defense. We'll see if Fitz can find any shots early.
Well, Fitz is on the Widow, and this is something the Charge should be able to play around pretty well, just using line of sight, and also the fact that Choi's not on Tracer anymore. Choi's on Mei, so the dynamic has changed here for the Charge and how they're going to play it. And inherently, this is going to necessitate Prophet being a little bit more aggro than he was before, because it's not quite the same bodyguard dude.
Right. The thing is, I felt like when Fusion yesterday had a lot of success against Seoul Dynasty, it was when they were playing things like the Mei, when they were playing things like the Wall, where they could separate Gesture from the rest of the team. That said, Gesture not playing the Winston on this map. He is on the Orisa. So the aggression isn't becoming quite as fast and furious as usual. That said, Fitz finds the pick on to Kaylee starting out. So now we'll see how much Charge can kind of keep this going. They might have to back up and regroup.
Even with the long sight lines that force a lot of position, you still have to work pretty hard as a Widow to find some eliminations here because of the double shield in your way. And the fact that teams have gotten really good at playing around Widows, and it makes it all the more important that when Fitz sees an opportunity like the one he saw there, you just instantly capitalize on it.
I mean, functionally, it's quadruple shield, right? Between if you have the Brigitte and the Mei wall in there. It's going to be the wall dropped by Karib as well. The damage wall this time as Gesture gets taken out. A little bit of bloodthirsty support action going for Karib as the payload keeps going. Animo down as well. And this push slowly but surely is starting to come together for the Charge. Oh, that said, Prophet may have something to say about that.
Takes out Mondu, doesn't care that Brigitte is good against Tracer. Prophet's good against everything. And now the Dynasty have a real chance of bringing this back. And we're looking at Prophet. He's the one to watch here. Now looking at the BAP in the back. Prophet versus Karib, a classic. Force back a little bit. BAP can handle himself. Immortality field down. And all the while, Prophet still takes down Karib. Immortality field or no. And that's a bit of a deadlift from Prophet.
I mean, he killed the field and he killed the Karib. I mean, that's impressive because Karib's not going to miss a lot of those shots. So you could see Prophet have to use his rewind early just to stay alive. Now Chosewan trying to use the wall to separate Gesture from the rest of the team. Caught between a payload and a hard place, and they nearly take him down. Either way, it's awkward. Gesture in a very rough spot right now. And they're just going to jump on him and finish him off.
Prophet's going to be back in, though. And the Blizzard's eaten! Toyo able to take down the Blizzard. Right place, right time to Sigma. Not the easiest thing to do.
No.
Now the Dynasty looking to stay on top of it. Toyo goes down, but big impact, and you look at Prophet back in the fight. Fitz with the recon sight. Nothing is a secret right now. And the question is, can Dynasty do anything to bring this point back? It's going to be tough, especially with Prophet fighting the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, Toyo eating a Blizzard is a nice touch, but in the end, it's going to be Krog and the rest of Charge finishing point A here. Late death for Fitz. We'll see if he stays on the Widowmaker or not. A lot of ultimates available for Seoul, so we'll see if they can get some sort of defense going on B. I feel like they've got a good opportunity, and yeah, there's going to be the swap over to the Hangzhou for Fitz on this one.
Yep, still running with the double shield, though, where, oftentimes teams will maybe swap here. But the thing is that even though you can get away with running other tank comps and double shield in the middle of Ana, it's still really, really good at the end. So just keeping things similar. Toyo, meanwhile, here in the back, Gesture out of the fight. And this is good pressure coming in from the Charge, but they're going to need a little bit more. Both teams swapping out Orisas.
Yep, pretty much. Both teams losing their main tanks. Ooh, fade away shot onto Animo from Kaylee. That's got to feel good.
Yeah,
Payload moving a little bit. Yeah, scrappy though. This point B is getting to be a little bit of a brawl.
It definitely is, because the problem is even when Charge get up one numbers, they're not feeling confident enough to go in and clean up the rest. Like, they're still sitting here posturing and poking, and while you're doing that, you're getting reinforcements coming in from the Dynasty, but there's Choi. Finds, fits, Pulse Bomb, though, out for Profit, evens the score, both Hangzhou's out of there. Yep. So Tracer v Hangzhou, a theme, and again, this keeps things even and lets the Dynasty keep the payload relatively stable.
Yeah, I'd say so. They are putting together that point defense they were looking for. Profit just trying to go in to finish a kill. Can't quite do it, though. The high ground has been taken for Charge. Profit needs a little bit more. Ultimates, though, starting to come online for Seoul Dynasty. The next big fight might be on the horizon here. Yep, Batiste wall dropped by Karib. They're going to try to stop it before it happens. Karib down, though, and it's going to be Seoul Dynasty picking up the early kills in this one. Accretion to the back. And the Orisa of Rio in big trouble here. And yeah, Charge may have to back up a bit.
I think a key difference we're seeing here between the two teams, though, and brought up a little bit, but I feel like when the Dynasty get an early pickoff, whether it be one or two, you just see the rest of the Charge immediately fall down. Whereas when the Charge get a pickoff, they're a lot more tentative, and the problem that the Charge are going to run into now is that retaking point B, very, very difficult when you let the defense set up again.
Yeah. It worked out well for Seoul that when point B began, they already had a few ultimates to utilize, and they put in the good use for sure. Now we've got that great potential for the Halt Dragon Strike combo from Gesture and Fitz. We'll see what happens. Gonna be looking for that one. Dragon Strike comes out, just gets tossed through the wall. Doesn't find any kills, but it does delay, and we're down to less than a minute remaining for Charge. They need to make something happen now.
And the problem there is Profit stocking, Pulse Bomb ready to go, and this could be the final fight already. They're not going to have a lot of time to reset up. And you just see the Dynasty denying entrances here at the point B. Just getting entry is so incredibly difficult. Profit, 29 HP, not a care in the world, drops the Pulse Bomb, doesn't get the kill, so that bullet dodged.
You just YOLO'd that one. I mean, Brigitte with a shield up in front of you, no HP. Yeah, just go for it, man. A little bit of a optimistic play by Profit, but it did lead to Charge having to back away again. Fitz finds a headshot onto Rio. Kills being traded. Kaylee deciding that it's time. It's time for the Charge to push forward, and it is past time as we're only down to 5 seconds remaining in the time bank. Can they do it?
Well, right now, they're off to a good start. The picks from Kaylee are huge. The payload finally moving forward. Someone remembered to get on it at the very least. And now the Charge, right now it's just about can they finish out point B. And this is a hard decision here for the Dynasty. We're re-engaging the Spa's defense. Very difficult times, but they have the Transcendence, so they're going to use the Transcendence, lead in here, and we'll see where it goes.
Yep, that's right. Right before point B would be finished. There's a Transcendence from Creative as well to give Seoul a chance. A big Gravitic Flux from Krong that's going to lead to a couple kills here, but does it lead to a point take? It looks like it may. And Charge do it. They take B. They are still alive.
Yeah, and that's the problem with going for the recontest there. It's always high risk, high reward. Seoul thought they could do it because they had the Transcendence. It gives you some degree of safe entry, but they were still all clumped up, ran into Krong's waiting hands. And now the Charge have a real chance of keeping this map competitive with a minute left moving into point C.
They do indeed. Fitz back on the Widowmaker. Double sniper now for Seoul Dynasty as they try to use these long sight lines to just get a couple early picks. Only 1 minute remaining, so there's not a whole lot of time for Charge to work with here.
Fitz, meanwhile, just looks
all about those picks.
Possible.
Ooh.
This is why they went back to the double shield, just because of this part of the map where you kind of need it, especially with teams running snipers. And Profit, right, going a little bit aggro, wants to take the battle and might have thought differently. Choi takes him out, but again, both Hangzhou's out of the fight, so now we look towards Choi v Fitz as Choi looks for the way around.
Oh, it's going to be Choi v Creative instead, as he has to recall, actually. Creative managing to find the right click on him. Charge continuing to push forward here. Still tough. Good choice. I wanted to get a whole lot done here, despite that one pick we just saw a moment ago.
Both teams are going to be at the full strength. Final 6 seconds. Charge have to engage soon. They start out with the Halt. Dragon Strike off to the side.
Interesting.
Toyo, real danger here. Super low HP, yet somehow stays alive. Getting healed up on the wall. Kaylee caught over to the side, and it's Profit on the McCree. Takes down Choi. A really nice swap here for Profit. And now looking for the Hangzhou, finds Kaylee, and Prophet is putting this one away.
Yeah, Toyo decided to try to go for the Sigma. Didn't find a whole lot with it, but it's going to be the Prophet show as the rest of Seoul pushes forward. It gives that McCree time to work, and it was an epic point B completion for Charge, but they couldn't quite get the payload all the way. Seoul Dynasty with an opportunity here to win the match in this next round.
Yeah, and credit to the Charge for extending it as far as they did there, particularly Kaylee just finally finding some opportunities against what has been a very well-disciplined Seoul Dynasty team here. And the Charge, they did swap things up here. They didn't rely entirely on the Tracer the entire time. They did swap to it towards the end, but yeah, it's been tough going for the Charge against the Dynasty that so far just have given up very little opportunities to pounce on.
Yeah. I think the main storyline has really just been Choi Se-won's success on that Tracer, in terms that Seoul has been stopping him cold pretty much the entire series so far. He finds his moments. He's a great player, obviously, but Seoul just came ready. Clearly they watched the footage from yesterday. Clearly they had a game plan coming in, knowing that he was going to be the biggest threat on Charge that they were going to have to deal with, and they dealt with it so far.
Yeah, they definitely did. And I mean, now if you're the Charge, you look at this and you go, okay, you need a strong defense. And, one thing you do in Havana, where I'm curious to see if they do it here, running the Rhine May, is just, hold it close to the spawn. Try and buy as much time as possible here at point A. And you can do it by being a little bit smash mouth on your defense.
Yeah, why not?
All right, well,
a little bit
here
more
we are.
aggressive. They are getting right in there.
The gas station is contested.
Extra from the side door, perhaps. Yeah, we do see these contests every once in a while in Havana. It's been a while, I feel like, since I've seen one be this up front, but they're going for it. Choi Se-won is trying to carve the team in half with that ice wall.
You tend to expect this more from some of the very aggro disrespect teams like Classic Atlanta. But in this case, I think it's the right move for the Charge. You keep up high pressure, hope to keep Seoul off guard, and drain a minute or two off the clock here.
I mean, they know that if point A is taken and B, that C is not going to be a tough thing to achieve. So why not use as much time up as you can on one of the longer stretches here on point A. Make it tough for Seoul down the line on those harder points like B. Rio down. Okay, and here we go. Seoul Dynasty finally breaking out, and they are going to get the payload moving. But it's like I said, taking the time off of the clock right now is going to make it that much harder for Seoul to push through that more difficult point in B a little bit later.
Yeah, I mean, you give up a little bit of positioning here, but given they got a minute off, I don't hate the play for the Charge to do that. Now, I mean, the problem that they're running into is that Prophet has a Blizzard. They have to play around this as they head through the Tokyo. Okay, so they're not even wasting any time, Doa. Dragon Strike out here from Fitz. Prophet moving on forward. Hasn't dropped the Blizzard here just yet. Seoul isn't full committing, but they push the Charge back. They just don't want to give up this level of territory.
Well, get ready for the Blizzard now. He just has to hope that Krong doesn't eat it. That's the play because they want to try to zone Charge away. They're going to go ahead and drop it. Oh, yeah, Blizzard tossed behind the wall to just make sure it goes down without a problem. But it doesn't really catch anybody either. That was interesting, ZP. Either way, Seoul does find the pick onto Rio, so they are still holding this point for now. They are still getting that payload moving.
Yeah, they're keeping it going forward, and this is tough for Charge. I mean, they've lost enough that they can't really head back out. And the Charge, they kind of paid for their upfront hold, Doa, where the risk you take is getting your positioning back, and the Dynasty really denied that positioning, and they never got back into a good spot on point A. And now point A is over. It's about point B.
I mean, props to Seoul for just having great ult efficiency towards the end of point A. They were like, all right, well, we pushed them back. Like you were saying, they have to try to make some sort of last-ditch defense at the end of the point, so let's just use our ultimate sparingly to create space and just make sure we get there. Oh, big Gravitic Flux, but there's a stun. And so Toyo has to back off as well. They're going to go ahead and use the sound barrier from Mandu to push into this, try to get a good position, but they find themselves in a Dragon Strike. Can they get out of the way in time?
They're able to reposition a bit, but Creative catches Kaylee in the crossfire. That's a problem when you're moving back and forth. Zen's firing all the way forward. Seoul again with an advantage, and they're looking to push it right out. The key difference between the two teams, one pickoff and Seoul just goes in. And they're keeping up the pressure on Krong right now. Krong getting very low. Seoul continuing to push forward, but now I got Rio. Rio builds up the shower mid-fight, drops on down. Is it going to be dropped here? Take a look at it for a second. The Blizzard is used, so is Shattered, but Choi and Krong both down in the heat of the moment, and the Charge have gotten precious little from this so far.
Yeah, Animo able to use the Immortality Field too to keep people, well, everyone aside from Gesture anyway, alive on the Soul side, and that's going to give Prophet the room to come back to turn this fight around. Even Creative showing up the kill feed there, but Prophet on this May looking very impressive here on point B. Still a lot of time left in the time bank for Soul.
Soul, 2 minutes, 55 seconds left. Charge finding the series on the line.
Yeah.
And they have to do something to stem the bleeding here, but look at Prophet on the May, going to be making the re-engage even harder here. The defense for the Charge, getting back into defend has been such a struggle here so far. Kaylee, Deadeye to the back, looking forward.
There's a flux if Kaylee goes down. That's a problem. Toyo finds a big one on the Sigma, that's right. And there's just so many low health members on Charge right now. They're on the payload right now, but I feel like it's not going to be for too much longer. Another Accretion. It's hard to hit the Lucio with the Accretion, I admit. That is a tricky one.
It's not the easiest for sure. Crit though, finds Prophet, but that's not going to be enough. The Blizzard back on the point. Soul just smothering. Charge have done a decent job of delaying, but this has been the sad delay. This is the delay you do to buy a little bit of time, but it's not the delay that's going to win you the game with 3.5 minutes for the Dynasty to finish it out.
Indeed, 3 minutes, 33 seconds exactly on that time bank as point C unlocks. And Seoul don't even need to finish it. All they need to do is get it most of the way there, and they don't just win the map ZP. They win the series, and they win it in resounding fashion. I believe this is going to be the quickest series we've seen yet in Overwatch League this year. At least, I mean, it's only one weekend, but still, this will be a quick 3-0.
Yeah, it's going to be very quick unless something changes in a hurry. Kaylee with an opportunity to be a hero here. Widow in the back, open shots. Nothing landed just yet. Blizzard going to be used by Choice of One to buy a little bit more time, but they get Prophet off it. It's not bad. This is enough that Soul has to think a moment before going super deep, Doa, but just one piece of menu with 240 left.
Yep, pretty much. Kaylee doing what he can as Soul pushes forward. You have to find the picks on the Widow. Now, Toyo's had some pretty big gravitic fluxes earlier in the series, and another one of those, of course, would potentially mean the match win. Prophet over to the Tracer once more, doing what he does best. And there's another 3-person gravitic flux. Man, Toyo just seems great at catching people with that. Gets the kill onto Kaylee, and that sets it up for the rest of his team. The delay is enough for everyone else on Soul to get in position, get the kills, and Soul just moments away, potentially, from winning this series.
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really tough re-engage coming in here from the Charge. Rio down for a while. Could you see a swap the ball just to get out in time? And there's the yellow box of victory. And someone has to be the martyr on the point. They touched it. It's in contest here, but they still need something else. Kaylee under pressure. Prophet says no, there will be no sniping from the back. Creative falls through, and the Charge falling bit by bit, piece by piece. Only 3 people left around near the point, and there's just a limit to what can be done. The Dynasty, they finish it off. It's a 3-0.
Seoul Dynasty with the 3-0 victory. That was fast, ZP. I thought we were going to get a good one. I mean, it was a fun one to watch if you're a Seoul Dynasty fan for sure, but man, if you are a Guangzhou Charge, back to the drawing board for that team. The reliance on Choice One that we saw yesterday against Dragons, it looked good. It wasn't enough then. Today, it was just stopped cold by Seoul Dynasty. And I gotta say, between yesterday and today as well, Seoul Dynasty seems to leveled up. The synergy, the coordination that was maybe a little bit lacking yesterday against Philadelphia Fusion, I thought it looked much better in general today.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Seoul that people thought you'd be seeing at the beginning of the season. This is why people were very surprised yesterday to see Philly just, so dominantly take Seoul down. And it's like, well, where was the Seoul yesterday? I don't know. But the Seoul definitely also learned from some of the things we saw yesterday that the Charge was good at, because I don't think there's any other way to explain the huge disparity in Choice of One's play from yesterday to today, other than the fact that Prophet and Fitz made life very, very difficult for him over the entire course of the series. So, I think you have to commend Seoul for the adaptations they made, not only in their own play, but also adjusting to their opponents as well.
Yep, that's right. Seoul Dynasty, I suppose you could say, just kind of shaking off the rust. Everybody's shaking off the rust. We're shaking off the rust. The players are as well. And so we'll kind of expect better play and everything to go. It's time to take a look at our player of the day. And I don't think it's going to surprise you too much. The player of this series is going to be none other than Seoul Dynasty's own Prophet. Just absolutely wrecking people on the Tracer, as we've seen him do time and time again throughout his career.
Yeah, I think Prophet, the untold story here, it's not even what you saw for him in the kill feed. It's not the highlights that we saw here. It's just the pressure that he was able to apply to Choi, the defensive presence of a Tracer that's playing bodyguard, right? That's not trying to play superhero, getting early pickups. It's like, no, I'm just going to protect the rest of my team. Going to prevent you from doing all the things you want to do. And, you know, it's something, it's a role a Tracer can do, especially dealing with other enemy Tracers that, you know, at times is underspoken about. But, you know, Prophet pulled it off beautifully here today.
Right. I mean, I think just doing a good job of picking the right targets as well. You know, like you mentioned, we did see the Tracer 1v1. We did see him play that DPS head-to-head from time to time. But if you track those pulse bombs, a good number of them ended up on Kariv. And I think if you're going to take out somebody, if you could pick anyone to just snap your fingers and remove from a fight, it would be Kariv, because you kind of lose that Ana. You lose a lot of your healing, obviously. You lose an Ana boost. And you lose, to a certain extent, a little bit of leadership, too, that Kariv offers that team. When he's out of the fight, a little bit tougher to direct there. So Prophet, our player of the game in this series. And, hey, great Tracer stats. No surprise, it's Prophet.
Yep. Again, no surprise there, as you say. And yeah, I think for Dynasty fans, this is sort of the palate cleanser game, right? Where yesterday happens and you go, oh, my God. We were supposed to take down Philly. They were down players. And yet you go to today and you're a little bit worried going, I don't know, Charge was looking pretty good. And Seoul just comes in and has the most dominating victory we've seen really all season long thus far. So, you know, Seoul fans, take a sigh of relief. Your team's still good. Yesterday, maybe a bit of an aberration.
You know, you got to feel bad for Charge. I feel like they ran into two of their toughest opponents, you know, back to back, and in terms of Shanghai and then today Seoul. We'll see if they can pick it up next week. I still think this is a team with a lot of potential. They've got a lot of good players, and I feel like we're going to see it a bit more as the season goes on. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. This is the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
League, and we were talking during the break, what do we want to show during our Cheez-It Grooves crunch time? There's so much to talk about at Seoul Dynasty. We talked about Gesture a lot, though, ZP. We talked about Profit a lot. So who else is left? Well, there's a notable Sigma player, of course. And, we're taking his Sigma plays anyway for this one. It's going to be Toyo, Tuyu, Tuyao. We're figuring it out still. Don't worry. We're shaking off the rust here, too. Either way, he had some great plays, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did, and you're just channeling some Hex energy where you had that one legendary caster he called Brigida, just 80 different names maybe throughout the course of it. I think she got called Baguette at one point, but it's all good. It's late night, and yeah, I mean Toyu really did have a big impact here, where it's easy to talk about the rest of the players being good on Seoul, and certainly did that a lot, but also just very solid Sigma play. And it seemed like anytime the Charge were getting a bit of momentum and in a good spot, well, you put everyone in too good of a spot for the opposing Sigma to land a Flux and just end the team fight and set up Profit even that much better. So it was the full package coming in here from Seoul today.
Yeah, exactly. You got to think about the full value of the Gravitic Flux, right? It's not just about the damage that it can potentially do. It's about the crowd control, of course, but it's also about the length of time that people spend in the ultimate. That's a lot of time for players like Profit and Fitz to reposition, to be able to pick up some more kills on the other side of it. And I feel like that's what we saw more than anything, is Seoul Dynasty using these Sigma ultimates as a team to really kind of get ahead in a lot of crucial spots.
Yeah, what better crunch do you have than hitting the ground after the Flux hits? You go up, you go down. There's got to be a crunching sound involved somewhere in the dough. I mean, physics just demands it.
It's when you get slammed down on the pavement by gravity. There's definitely some crunch as well. So that's going to do it for ZP and I. Actually, today it was a short but sweet day if you're a Seoul Dynasty fan. Otherwise, if you're a Charge fan, more to look forward to, I think, in the future. But that's going to do it for us. Stick around, though. We've got the Hunters versus the Dragons coming up next. A lot more late-night Overwatch League coming at you right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.
guys to the Overwatch League. I'm Achilles, jumping on the cast alongside Avril yet again. We'll be bringing you the action for the final two series of the evening. Coming up next, we have the Chengdu Hunters getting ready to duke it out against the Shanghai Dragons. And when it comes down to Chengdu, we never know how this is going to go, Avril. This could get very down and dirty.
Yeah, I mean, look, Chengdu are the kind of team that I have been described to me as they're capable of winning a tournament, but also they're capable of going very close to Valiant, which is kind of what we saw yesterday. So the Chengdu zone, it exists. Get used to it. It's fun. It's chaotic. It's anything you want it to be, really. But for Chengdu, I hope for them, it also means that they can maybe pop out a win as well. So sometimes chaos can lead you into a sort of situation where you maybe confuse your opponent, something like that. Chengdu have certainly got a tough game ahead of them tonight versus Shanghai. We expect Shanghai to be great, and while for Chengdu, they're going to need to step up big time.
Yeah, they are, and one of the big players that's going to have to step up for Chengdu is Leave, of course. I mean, he has been a star, you know, a fairly silent star, I guess, because he kind of gets drowned out in the chaos, but we will be taking a closer look at him versus Lip.
And here's the thing as well. I'm glad we're looking towards Ashe stats. People don't know this, but Leave has actually got a really great Ashe. He plays a little bit. I mean, we saw yesterday versus Valiant. He did bring it out kind of. Lip plays the Ashe on the team for Shanghai Dragons. You also have DM coming in sometimes for that one. Personally, for me, Leave is really, really underrated in the Overwatch League. He is by far, in my opinion, the best Chinese Overwatch player. Notice I didn't say Overwatch League. I just said Overwatch. All of Overwatch. I think it's really just that good. Leave is incredible for this team. Leave on the Chengdu Hunters is like, in my opinion, like he's the guy. He's like the prophet of this team. When, you know, prophet for Seoul. To me, Leave is Chengdu, right? That's the first guy I think of when I think about Chengdu Hunters. So Leave has got quite a big job to do tonight versus Flitter, versus Lip, versus even DN. Chengdu, they're still kind of trying to, in my opinion, figuring out their roster a little bit. Here you go. Starting lineup's going to be Jinmu back on with Leave. They got two more other DPSs. In fact, they got 2 extra roles across the board. They got 12 players in total. I actually think it would be good for Leave and Kaneki to be playing together. Kaneki's got a really great tracer, and then you could put Leave on that Ashe. And I think for this, though, with Jinmu coming in especially early, now Jinmu's been playing a lot of the fire. We saw yesterday he really came in big on that fire. Is he going to do that again? And if he does, I mean, is that going to work? Because you got Flitter on the other team, you got Lip on the other team. Flitter's going to go Echo. Lip could go any sort of hit scan. It's pretty dangerous for Jinmu.
Yeah, I mean, keeping him protected from the skies is a really big order. That's going to fall to Nisha, as we still haven't seen Yveltal yet. It's only been 2 days, you know, so still plenty of time for him to come through. But here's going to be our Shanghai Dragons starting roster. We'll not be seeing DM so far. We'll be Fleta, Lip, Fate, Void, Lee Jaegong, and Izayaki. I mean, these guys, you know, there's not really a situation that they can't handle, at least seemingly. Close first series, you know, did have a draw come through versus the Charge just yesterday. But like you said, the Chengdu zone, it absolutely does exist. It's not like Elo Hell, which is made up. So the Chengdu zone is a very real place. It's all self-inflicted. We've all witnessed it. There's no Bermuda Triangle nonsense going on here. It's a very real location, and Chengdu is going to be looking to take the Dragons there. Going to be starting things on Oasis for Control. Control always, notably, is going to be super chaotic, and that is where Chengdu excels, so maybe they could start the series off with a win.
And maybe versus a team like Shanghai as well, going to the Chengdu zone actually gives them quite a lot to work with. I think versus teams that they're expected to beat, that's when it works against them. This is why you have the fluctuations and expectations. This is why for a team like Chengdu, you know, they can get good games versus teams like Shanghai, which is what I'm expecting tonight, and then they can also go very close to Valiant. Then let's take a look at an opening composition to start things out with. Gaga Elsa on the Winston Zarya, not even doing the ball here. Gaga to me is one of, if not the best ball in the league currently. And I know he's just entered, he's only played like 1 game, but trust me, the ball is really, really good. They're going to be on the double bubble early. Fate coming through on the ball.
Waiting above, comes down. So just swing through, but gets shield bash instantly, so it doesn't go for the pile driver, gets a big knock-up. Gaga just playing around the side. With this Winston, Lee Jae-gon under quite a lot of pressure, pulls back around the corner, trying to stay safe. The flashbang not going to connect. He's still going to be alive, and Void still somehow kept in this mech. Bionate does connect onto both the supports here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, but they haven't been able to capitalize on that. Don't get the kills there. So far, just going to be knocking Void out of that mech. Now with Izayaki and Lee Jae-gon falling, the extended fight is going to be won. Initial cap goes the way of Shanghai Dragons, but it's going to be a very fast turnaround here for Chengdu.
I think that's maybe Lip or Flatter, one of the two actually going towards that. Flatter gets, I think he got stunned up there, and then the obviously Bionade comes and cleans him up from Monk. That initial manual hack from Jinmu onto Void sets things up beautifully. Void can't do anything, no defensive matrix. Then you get the Bionade onto Lee Jae-gon and Izayaki. From that point on with Shanghai always on the back foot, they get the back cap, and only now can Chengdu match that 13%, but this is where I'm looking towards Jinmu, 81%, Lip owning on 64.
Yeah, it's a really solid start for Jinmu, who, I mean, we thought was going to be, a surefire pickup just to be playing the Pharah, but does show us that his not just quite a one-trick, so still going to be looking into the back. He's looking for Izayaki here.
He needs to farm.
Might not know that Izayaki nearly has this Transcendence and now gets it online. Lip at the same time, going to be able to match. Jinmu falls, the EMP is going to come out immediately, catches 3, the Nano Boost out from Monk. Does go on to Gaga, so throws it out, but Flatta finds 2 with the Pulse. The cleanup comes through. That is just going to be a team ace. And we just go ahead and flip it right back over into the favor of the Shanghai Dragons. So 43% on the board, and with that extra 13, Shanghai are that much closer to tying it up yet again.
And the problem here is, you saw from Jinmu's POV, he's not farming. He's waiting for a manual hack opportunity. He's waiting for something else to happen. While he's chilling, sitting on his hands, Lip is actually farming the EMP. He catches up, lands EMP, Void finds Jinmu, gets a solo kill, and that's it going to be for Chengdu. Here comes that double EMP. Izyaki's already dead, so no trance.
Yeah, doesn't get to use the trance. I mean, dead before the EMP even came out. Couldn't save himself. Leave, just taking him out that quickly. It will be rally for rally at the moment, but now with Lip gone, Lee Jae-gon trying to stay alive, has to kite back to keep himself in this fight, get that armor rolling up. Fate falling low, can't get the primal online in time. Void just going to let the mech get crumpled. This will be a cleanup, and it's just a very swift back and forth here. Chengdu quick on the reply.
And it's both teams finding opportunities to get that EMP in there. The cleanup now for the rest of Chengdu is really getting back into finding those percentage points on that cap with Izayaki gone early, then the rest of the EMP collecting. EJ gone even with the rally. Can't quite get enough armor to save the team. So we're going back and forth between Lip and Jinmu, and now we're going to go swing back towards the Lip side of things as far as that pendulum goes. 71%, still a little bit of farming to go. He's pressuring the point, looking for opportunities.
Yeah, will go ahead, translocate out. They nearly get the flip on the point. Pulse bomb out from Flatta, finds Nisha. A great pickoff from him early. Monk's still going to be alive into the fight, but the grab gets eaten by Void. Now Elsa does fall. Huge plays from the Shanghai Dragons as they look to get this back into the favor. The Deadeye from Leave only going to be able to find Flatta. The rest of the team still here, still pounding, still picking up kills for the side of Shanghai. Trying to get some knocks here into the car. Will be Lip sent off the side. Gaga does manage to get one with the Primal Rage. Shanghai Dragons are right back into the point. A little minor delay there from Jinmu for a moment, trying to fish out, get that EMP up and running. The rest of the team now collapsing as Chengdu look to take us up to 99%, but the flip comes in as Monk barely gets pushed off the point, and now both supports fall in the back end of the fight.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just pushing for a few extra percentage points there. It's going to be worth it for Chengdu. They've given away a lot of ult charge. There's late deaths here as well. So it's not just like they got extra percentage. I mean, Gaga's going to be thankful to get out of that situation. Elsa maybe not so much here. This is going to go potentially 99 both sides, or more realistically 99 for the Shanghai Dragons. Lip is ready to go. Not great defense on the side of Chengdu. Jinmu's not quite on the EMP, and Lip's going to go first.
Well, they're just looking to fight them off the point. The EMP comes in, Nisha does fall. They get a follow-up to hacks as Jinmu will be eliminated, but the EMP reply from Jinmu was absolutely massive, and now Elsa manages to find 2. Chengdu Hunters still without that Sombra, need to make their way over to the point. They do so right now as Lee Jae-gon gets taken down before he can use the rally. Izayaki still going to be 28% away from the Transcendence, needs to get that online. Void barely makes it back into the mech safely. We're at 99% here. A flip for Chengdu Hunters almost certainly means the round victory. They're going to be hungry for it. They continue to play forward here on the point. Jinmu, however, off of the flank, does get taken down. A huge pickup there from Lip and Flatta. He does still have this pulse bomb. He's looking for backline access. Lobs it down, tries to get Leave. Is unable to find him. Electric Cowboy coming through, but the Deadeye's not going to be able to lead to any kills. Now just taking some pot shots, gets a great headshot in on the Lee Jae-gon. Izayaki, the Transcendence expires. The self-destruct from Elsa, perfectly timed, finds the kill. It's only going to be a trade out from Monk so far. Nisha down to half HP as Leave continues to fan the hammers, taking damage from all sides, and will fall in the end. Lip coming up with the kill, but now no front line. The EMP committed to the fight here by Lip, only catches 2. They cannot get any follow-up whatsoever off the back of it. 95%, still no tanks alive. They're waiting to respawn. Chengdu, have they done it?
Gaga's got the Primal here as well, so it might just be the case. Monk used the Nano to leave. That came from to great effect. There's no ultimates available. Flatter dies at 99.
Dies, yeah. Now has to rejoin the fight, hopefully. For his sake, the rest of the Shanghai Dragons can delay this. Void, however, Bio native flies up top, gets chased down by Elsa, and they break him out of the mech. They finish off the Baby Diva. Pink now going to be hacked. Lip eliminated. It seems so very good here for Chengdu as their HP bars are just not getting chipped away at whatsoever. Everybody collapsing onto Fate, and it would all come down to Flutta with this pulse. He recalls off the point for just a second, and that's long enough for the OT to bleed away. 100% to 99. Chengdu Hunters draw first blood as they take city center.
And Chengdu, they were looking like maybe they didn't have the tenacity to stay in that fight towards the end there as well. I look back over towards Monk, getting the nano, popping onto Leave, who was on the McCree, and that electric cowboy gives them a lot of legs to walk on. That really saved them. And it doesn't look good to start with. I mean, they're losing members. I'm pretty sure Shanghai had a 6v5. They had the initial, like Jimu gets manually hacked, and he's there. We see it in this replay as well. Elsa has his grav eaten, and honestly, Elsa was on his last legs anyway. He was on like 1 HP, so even if the grav lands and you're kind of lacking the damage, Elsa dies. Yeah. Gaga's probably next as well. The damage just isn't going to be there, so I don't know that the grav landing would have really won them that fight. And from there on, I thought it was going to be Shanghai.
Well, a good little turnaround victory here from Chengdu so far. Fate now making a swap up as he moves back over onto the Wrecking Ball. Gaga does match. Jinmu now in his comfort zone on the far, taken to the skies, drop it down, instantly finds Izayaki. DJ Gone with a sliver of HP. Will get finished off by Elsa in the end. They collapse it onto Void, and Chengdu Hunters look absolutely phenomenal here at the start of Garden. Flutta has to head for the hills, just get the heck out of Dodge. And Chengdu will yet again lock down this point.
And it's the same neutral fight going the way of Chengdu, where Leave, well this time it's Leave, last time it was Jinmu, but the Sombra players of Chengdu going for Void. You see the manual hack onto Void, Izayaki and Lee Jae onto the targets, get rid of the supports, no defense matrix to come on through, especially important when you are running the fire on your team. Nisha also gets to go onto the Mercy as well, which has been another comfort pick for Chengdu. So I think this specific composition, outside of Leave playing the Tracer, sorry, the Sombra, where he could be on the Tracer, it's like across the board, everyone's favorite pick, everyone's comfort pick on Chengdu.
Yeah, and they're piloting it extremely well. Lip barely survives, but Izayaki falls off screen as Leave scoops a kill. Jinmu now with the barrage online. Could just, hold this. There's no real reason to use it at the moment. Shanghai continue to get picked off one after the other. Just wait for that nano boost to come in, or maybe even the EMP to couple it here with Leave. But high impact ultimates are not really a great way to deny. It's all going to come down to Void, really, to interrupt this barrage with the D-Matrix. Monk, however, does fall. Now the barrage comes in. Not a great angle is the problem. So Jinmu not going to find too much value off the back of that. The pile driver does eliminate Lip, and as Jinmu drops down to the ground, he finds Flutta. So there's no DPS duo alive for the side of Shanghai. Lee Jae absolutely melts under the pressure. As Gaga, he's just going into the back. He wants to get this minefield online. He's going to get punished here in the end, yeah. Minefield going to be used by Fate, in fact. Well off the point, and nobody else nearby to really crash into these.
That's actually an important kill to Gaga, because now there's a timing for Shanghai to maybe make a push happen. They got the kill to Monk, they forced a res from Nisha, the Valkyrie gets popped as well. That was always going to be a fight for Shanghai that wasn't going to go well. They had no ultimates to work with, but now they do. Lip's going to come in, EMP coming.
The counter EMP! It's absolutely huge. Lip only finds Elsa. The counter comes in, catches 5 members, I do believe, on the side of Shanghai Dragons. Jinmu follows up onto Flutta. The self-destruct gets Fate. And this is just not looking great at all. Chengdu Hunters looking to take this 2-0. They're now at 99%. Void has the nano boost, does have the self-destruct. They'll have to let it go. The direct hit in mid-air on the Baby Diva does get the tag. They can't get the kill. Barrage comes in from the side, finds Izayaki. Lee hunts down Jinmu, taking him out of the skies at least for a little bit longer. Nisha not in a position to try to get that res off, but Elsa is just doing so much work in the meantime over on the point. Finishes off Lee Jae gone. Flutta now going to be hacked. Can't dash, can't recall out. He's just hiding in a corner somewhere, and Gaga has found him. Gets the kill as Lip desperately tries to swap over onto the Soldier 76 to get himself back over to the point, but the OT bleeds away so quickly that Chengdu Hunters just close out Oasis cleanly with a 2-0.
100-0 on that second sub-map as well. What a performance coming through, especially when you look towards the Sombra. I mean, you said it right there. It's Lip only getting Elsa and then Leave getting all 5, or rather 5 others on the other side of things. Insane from Chengdu. And that's a map that's really important for them to win as well, because this was going to be favored for them as far as comfort picks and compositions go. You get to have Jinmu on a fire. You get to have Gaga playing a bull. Nisha's going to go towards a Mercy as well. They're going to be playing picks that are very good for them. When we go forward into some of these other maps, I will have to start questioning, Are Chengdu going to be able to, come through on the ball again? Do they have to move towards double bubble? Are we going to see Jinmu being subbed out for Jimmy, and then they go towards a different type of composition? We know Shanghai still have a lot to work with, but it's an insane start for Chengdu and absolutely what they need to get the series underway.
Yeah, just reveling and basking in the chaos of control. We'll see how they fare when we do move into hybrid for our second map, but it's a very strong start from the Chengdu Hunters. Let's see how they fare in the next map, which is going to be coming up in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, welcome back. What a start. Chengdu Hunters kicking things off with a 2-0 victory on Oasis. Just like you were saying, Avril, playing completely into their comfort. They dismantled the Shanghai Dragons with it there on that second round of Garden. And now, Shanghai, they have to reply with a win on Hybrid to tie this up.
And the thing that's impressing me so much right now about Chengdu is actually in the Sombra play. Like I noted at the start of both the neutrals that we saw in Gardens and also City Center there, they got the initial hack with the Void, a manual hack with the Void, no defensive metrics, go for the supports there, winning both the neutrals. And you have to remember as well, City Center, we had the back cap that gave them, 13% for Shanghai Dragons, and then a bit more back and forth there. I think Void and Fleta overall had a great game. You see the Pulse Bomb, multi-kill, the Void, eat on Elsa's Graviton Surge. That really kept Shanghai, primed to be competitive with City Center. Chengdu clutching up hard with the Nano onto leave and then getting the frags. Then you look towards Gardens. That one was far more one-sided, 100-0 for Chengdu. Bit of a masterclass of performance coming through from how they're playing the ball dive.
Yeah, it was just beautiful to play. I mean, Elsa as well, really stepping up, just constantly going in, getting the finish on multiple people. He was protecting his supports, covering the backline with the D Matrix. Overall, great performance from him and everybody else on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. It's pretty much impossible to point a finger and say they could have played better. This guy, he could have stepped up his performance. Everybody was very much on point. And yeah, Shanghai, they just really struggled to find some footing to try and fight back against that, especially on Garden. So now we have to see how they're going to reply as we get ready to move into our hybrid map of Eichenwald. It's going to be our next one, where Shanghai is going to look to stabilize a little bit and try to pick up the pieces here. I think that they should be able to do this just because, you move off of control, which is going to be much more chaotic, that constant fighting that's going on. This is where, the battles often come in waves, and when it's a bit more measured play, there's a bit more time to kind of think about how you want to approach it. I do favor Shanghai, but if Chengdu can continue to just completely offset Shanghai Dragons, catch them off guard, keep the fights going for extended periods of time, they very well could grind down against Shanghai and get a win here.
So for Shanghai, this is going to be a good map for them. Gibraltar's going to be even better when we get to that. Well, that is a heavily favored Shanghai map. Hanamura, you start swinging things back over to Chengdu. So Chengdu's best chance of winning this probably comes from, I mean, there's a couple scenarios. You have the 3-1 scenario, the 3-2 scenario. 3-2 scenario says that Chengdu lose this map, and we have to go to that map 5, and then, you know, back under control. Maybe Chengdu take us back to the Chengdu zone. We repeat what we saw into Oasis, and that's Chengdu winning the game. Or we're looking towards Chengdu winning Eichenwalde. And if they do this, even if they lose the next map after, which would be Gibraltar, Hanamura should still be good. And even if they lose Hanamura, you still get that last map in control back again. So Chengdu, I mean, just getting Oasis paves the way for them really nicely.
I mean, you see that stat line that we just had pop up in the lower third, and the only hybrid map that Shanghai has ever dropped to Chengdu was Eichenwalde. It was a long time ago, but it was this map. So maybe history will repeat itself here in 2021, and Chengdu Hunters can force Shanghai, of all teams, into a position for a reverse sweep. Granted, when they had to do it last year in the 2020 season, Shanghai Dragons were very reliable when it came down to pulling off those reverse sweeps, but more often than not, they don't get put in that position.
And Jimmer's coming through on the Tourbillon early, so there's not going to be any fire shenanigans, and, you know, Eichenwalde A has been a fire point at some periods in history for Overwatch. This is also DM coming to the roster over, you know, Lip. So we had a situation on Gardens where they weren't really dealing with Jinmu, and now it's like, well, let's put in the hit scan, you know, heavyweight of DMs. And for Shanghai Dragons, Brawl comp, straight into Chengdu. They've identified no fire. This is fine.
Well, we'll be the Reaper here. Start for Fleta. See, Mortality Field get eliminated. Lee Jae-gon with a sliver of HP. Get top back up here by Izayaki very steadily, but they lose out on the Diva for now, and it's a strong start for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. That being said, Gaga going to be eliminated. Lee Jae-gon pushing forward, finds Jinmu, killing him off with the boom. Spate drops down, trying to throw that fire strike through the window, but it's going to be a loss of the damage now here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons as they look to stabilize. They pull back up onto the high ground, back away, wait for these respawns to come through. Chengdu can just go ahead and maintain control of this point, make sure that everybody's topped up, and get ready for the next wave.
We'll look at Monk again. I mean, this guy's dropping Bionate. He's landing multiple Bionate hits on the Shanghai Dragons, keeping his team alive. Nano available straight away to Gaga. He's already got the Primal Rage. And Shanghai just have to back out.
It dives his way in there. Izayaki Bionated, pulls back around the corner, waiting until they can get some heals. Grabs the mini pack inside the room. Should be stable enough to continue pushing forward. I mean, almost another window available for Izayaki. So we'll see what they can get done with that.
No,
Leap up on the high ground. Oh, man. As I say, it gets the headshot. Follows up with another nice little dink there. And Shanghai Dragons just have to play back indoors. Good dodge there from Fleta on the flashbang. But as he pops out of the Wraith Walk, then will still fall. Elsa just beaming him down. And Elsa can just hold on to this Graviton Surge. Has not gotten to a situation where he feels pressed enough to use it. And, I mean, you look at the ults here. It's going to be 5v6 ultimates pretty shortly, as Monk looks to catch up with the nano boost, but this could definitely swing either way, but it's a great amount of time bought so far for Chengdu.
They need Izayaki to open up with the window here, but he doesn't quite have it. Yeah,
The
the
Bionate's
huge fire
huge.
at the 3!
Forces out the beat there from Lee Jae-gon. Monk going to be the first one to fall. Void finding the kill with the Rockets. Immortality Field, however, now going to be gone, and Jinmu picks up Izayaki with the Molten Core, follows up for a second kill on the Fate, and Void lobbing the bomb around the back. Doesn't manage to find anything. Chengdu Hunters come out on top, and that was just everything used from the side of Shanghai. Only Fleta still holding on to the Death Blossom, but they have the Primal Rage, they have the Deadeye on the side of the Chengdu Hunters, and that Nano Boost is going to be on its way pretty quickly.
Sound Barrier was used as well. Immortality Field was used. They still fail. The grab lands. And Monk is really, really playing out of his mind currently. We saw some great flexible performances yesterday. Monk is that one for the Chengdu Hunters. Death Blossom available less than 1 minute. This is a very precarious situation for Shanghai to be in. They're forcing out the Primal. That's at least something.
Yeah, they do manage to find it. They're fighting away from the point. And Gaga into the back line. Just takes out Izayaki, cutting the healing by more than half. Now DM falling as well. Gaga going on an absolute killing spree. Will finally get finished off, but he trades his life for 3 members of the side of Shanghai.
By the way,
they have 35 seconds left.
Look at the comp from Shanghai. They swapped over to a Rush because Izayaki's on a Moira now. And this is Rush where you just got a +4. You just got to walk into the other team, run into the other team, speed into them. But it's constantly Chengdu that are opening the fight first. They have the initiative, and now they have the Nano again. They're going to pop this one probably onto Gaga. Death Blossom cancelled.
Yeah, they cancel it. They still do manage to get the punish, though. Fleta following up with the shotgun blast. Does find Elsa, but now the turn from Jinmu takes down Fate as he turns his back to it. The lessons out from Izayaki, trying to keep everybody alive, but not going to be able to chip away at anybody on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Izayaki falling, the Deadeye coming through. They do manage to touch the point to force out the OT. Turret going to be cleared. Void dead. 17% away from that self-destruct.
Oh, the slave.
Flashbang in. Lee Jae Gon does not die. Takes a couple taps. His fate will receive that bio-nade. DM going in with the ult. Doesn't manage to find anything. Fleta trying to drag this one back. Picks up a single kill. He's solo. The flashbang connects. Leave takes him down, and it's a full hold. No ticks, no percentage gain. Chengdu Hunters, they look to repeat that success that they have only found once on a hybrid map. I was teasing when I said maybe they could do it because they beat them once on Eichenwald before. Now they are absolutely looking to pull this off. Shanghai have to reverse full hold them just to force a draw.
Man. Kilios, this is insane. This is so insanely good from Chengdu today. What is Shanghai getting crushed? They achieved very little on that attack. They never really got a good fight for them, and then when they finally had ultimates, there was that one big moment. We go back. It's like 5 ultimates for Chengdu, nearly 6 ultimates for Shanghai. We're waiting for Izayaki to get this, Ant Matrix on board, and that was what should be opening the fight for them. And every single time they rotate, on transition, Monk lands this massive Bionade, instantly forcing a responsive resource from Shanghai, where they don't want to have to sound barrier early. They don't want to have to use Immortality Field early. But Monk is destroying them every rotation. And then on top of that, you have the fact that Chengdu actually had a pretty smart comp by running Leave on the Decree and Jinmu onto the Torb here. They can resist a Brawl comp much better, even though they're playing a dive core because they have the double bubble set up. Normally that double bubble could get run over if it's more brittle DPSs, like we're talking Ash, Traces, stuff like that. Maybe even, the Fire, which DM I'm sure would just go towards a hit scan. And he already was one onto McCree. But the fact that the Torb and McCree was that your backline was very durable for Chengdu, so they resisted the Brawl quite successfully.
But Jinmu getting tagged up several times. He's just going to swap off. Moves over to the Sombra. Leave back over to the McCree. And I mean, Shanghai, man, what a task.
They can only draw, by the way.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was saying. Yeah,
they got to be down. They got to be down no matter what.
So yeah, it still doesn't pick them up a win. Elsa now going to be moving over onto the Diva. Just trying to mitigate some of this damage coming out from the Ash, from the Echo. Into the back, Jinmu looking for the hack, finds it on the Void. No one can collapse to try to punish this, get rid of the mech. His fate takes quite a bit of damage and has to leap back to safety all the way over to the point. And you can see, Chengdu Hunters, they've already gotten through the initial archway, they've gotten through this initial choke. As long as they don't lose out on members now, they're in a very good position to pressure the point. DM gets caught on the flank. Everybody diving in the back, puts pressure on the Ash. Now they get a headshot at range. Fate is gone. Bionade out onto Izayaki. As Lee Jae Gon tries to stay alive in the skies, but Void is taken out. They're off the point, and they just absolutely steamroll them. Oh my goodness, Chengdu Hunters starting this series off 2-0. Shanghai Dragons now have to reverse sweep them. It's the second ever time that they have dropped a hybrid map versus Chengdu. It happens yet again on Eichenwald, but in such one-sided fashion. Incredible play yet again from everybody on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. They absolutely dismantle the Dragons.
Did you see the faces of the players there, especially for Shanghai? You got Fleta just... He's got a finger on his head, like, what's going on here? You got, I don't know, like your Fate doesn't know what's going on. Then you look over to Chengdu.
I don't know what's going on, but I love it.
And like turn the player names off. Let's get rid of the HUD. Like, who's playing against who here? Because it looks like, if you walked into this one, you think, yeah, Shanghai versus Chengdu. You imagine 2-0 up. Yeah, it's probably Shanghai. Yeah, Chengdu not going to do too well, are they? But then you look at how things have actually transpired. Gardens was 100-0. Shanghai were messing. They were asleep. They did nothing. We go towards Eichenwalde, a full hold, no tech, no successful fight wins on the attack, and then Chengdu do like a slow one attempt, but it's a one attempt. You got DM getting killed straight away, a manual hack onto Fate, which kills him, an initial manual hack onto Void, which Jinmu's gotten repeatedly, which gave them neutral wins. So Shanghai, I don't know what's going on. They're asleep at the wheel right now. This is Chengdu in the zone, and I got to say, Chengdu zone is now just like the W zone. They might as well just be winning.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so great for them right now. Shanghai Dragons being pushed to the brink. Maybe the realization that they're down 0-2, that they're at match point, will finally wake them up. But we have to wait and see. They need to pull off a reverse sweep if they want to be victorious here today. Otherwise, Chengdu Hunters are going to be looking to start off their season 2-0. It would be a huge boon for them. We'll see what happens when we come back for that third and potentially final map in just a few minutes, so do not go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
Alrighty, welcome back, guys. Woo! We are speed running this evening. As it turns out, I'm gonna just take a look at the time. It's 7:46. Avril, we've gone live not even 2 hours ago, and we're almost potentially through our second series of the evening. What is happening?
What is happening is everyone's preds are boomed. Everyone's predictions are boomed right now. Everyone's rankings are boomed. It's all out of there. Forget about it all. Your eyes don't lie to you. Look at the bottom left. 2-0 in favor of Chengdu. If you just joined us, are you early? Are you late? I'm not too sure. That's not a typo. That's not a typo. Chengdu have destroyed Shanghai on Iconvolder. That map was very surprising to me. And I think maybe the more surprising thing is Shanghai were very keen to run this brawl that ends up not playing as well into Chengdu's comp as you'd think. And I think, I'll go back to the point where Chengdu actually running the McCree and the Torb plays well into the brawl. And we never saw this brawl get off. We never saw them, roll into their economy properly. We never saw them get the ultimates. When they did get those ultimates, they got shut down in that one big fight. Shanghai basically had only one fight to try and cap A, to try and win, and they didn't do it. They didn't get any of the fight wins.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so very bizarre to see everything just completely crumble. I mean, Fleta, coming up with a few kills, but it just felt like overall nobody on the side of Shanghai Dragons could do anything against Chengdu Hunters. DM, I don't have the stats in front of me by any means, and I'm sure he did get some eliminations, some kills, but it felt like he was completely absent. They are going to be sticking through with DM. They're not going to be bringing Lip back in for this potentially third and final map as we get ready to go over to Watchpoint Gibraltar. But, I mean, things are just getting absolutely just out of control for Shanghai Dragons. They need to somehow find stability, but Chengdu Hunters, they're just not giving them a single inch. They're not giving them an opportunity to just finally, take a breath, reassess the situation, and come in with a new approach.
And Gaga, honestly, even on the Winston, super impressive. I thought, this guy is the ball guy. He's like Among 2.0. He's got the ball, but then some of the other picks, which is probably why Among's not starting on the roster. If you haven't caught up with Chengdu, this is the state of Chengdu currently as far as how they're using their 12 members. Speaking of which, Jimmy comes in for Jinmu here, and that's been the one substitution that Chengdu have been doing over the course of this weekend so far. Jimmy comes into play primarily hit scan, so expect him on the Widowmaker, the Ashe, which leaves Leave over towards stuff like Tracer. And honestly, I think Leave should maybe go for the Sombra again, because the other part of Chengdu that's really working right now, ironically, well, maybe unironically, is the Sombra. And I say that because you have Lip on the other team, and Lip is like meant to be one of the best Sombras in the world, and somehow, I don't know that he's specifically getting finessed, but all of Shanghai getting finessed right now by either Sombra player on the Chengdu side, whether that's Leave or Jinmu, or in this case, it's going to be Leave.
Well, let's see what they piece together as we do jump on to Watchpoint Gibraltar, a last hope, a last bastion here for Shanghai Dragons. I mean, you're bigging them up here for this map, saying they absolutely should be able to take this given their history and their style of play, but we were thinking similarly about Eichenwald, so who knows? Chengdu Hunters have absolutely turned our world upside down in these first two maps of the series, and who's to say that they can't do it a third time in a row?
By the way, Gibraltar is Shanghai's best map. 88% win rate. There it is. You can see it. 7-1. And it's not just because of the stats. I mean, you think about the comps we run here as well. Sniper heavy, favored. DM's in the lineup for that. Fleta can even hop on. The Hangzhou's good here. Ashe, Widow, all great here. And Shanghai Dragons, if they can't win on their best map, then they get 3-0'd. And at that point, everyone just forget about any Preds and rankings, because Chengdu just got the 3-0. That's still quite a tall order, though. I think Chengdu are ahead. I think they're looking great, but they got to take down Shanghai now on their 88% win rate.
Looks like Fleta chilling for a moment, trying to get word as to what is being run by Chengdu. Decides to go in for the Tracer. Tracer Ashe set up. Void on the Diva, Elsa on the Zarya. They start moving forward. Jimmy taking some shots coming through, just really chipping away at them. The Bionade onto Void forces him back around the corner as Fleta tries to bring the cart down into the underpass.
Jimmy, by the way, has a great angle in the underpass. I mean, we're looking towards Shanghai, just getting early push coming in. They want to just prioritize cart. They're not really fighting for the high ground just yet as Chengdu pulls back. Now when, the cart actually comes up the hill, this is when Shanghai want to strike on the high ground and take the fight over towards Chengdu.
Leave living up to the names. Dips back up into the sky. Just keeping himself away from Fleta. Don't want to be in range of him by any means. Hard for now. It's going to be sat still. This is always, one of the hardest parts of the map is getting that cart completely out of the underpass. So you can't as easily be contested from both sides.
Trying to set up this collapse of him. That's why Fleta's onto the back line. That's why he's trying to flank around. And at this stage in time, DM could be in trouble as well. DM!
Oh, that's just going to be the sticky bomb finish. He went in for the laser beam just in case it wasn't going to be good enough. Fate does find Nisha, however, and the rest is there from Jigon, so they put DM right back into the fight as Jigon just goes out with the Valkyrie, cruising around the skies, trying to keep everybody alive. Transcendent's going to be used. Nano Boost out now from Monk onto Leave to try to keep him up. It's not going to be good enough. Leave and Jimmy both getting eliminated. Great little pinch there from Fleta. Finds the Widowmaker, who will get res back into the fight, but as Nisha's busy doing that, he's not getting heals out onto Gaga, so he does fall. So they get the res just for the kite back of the Widow, as the gate does open upon point A being taken by Shanghai. Looking much better, much more stable here on Gibraltar so far.
And really good late kills here as well. The stagger's going to be important. This is going to give Shanghai a lot of early momentum in this phase. They're going to have shuttle control as well. What you saw in that last fight, by the way, was a trade Nisha for DM. And at that stage, DM dying was pretty brutal for Shanghai, but they had the res from DJ Gunn. He's got to go for it. Nisha dying, no one reses him. So that's going to be a 5v6. Leave receives a nano, dies a DM via headshot, doesn't even get to use the duplicate, which would have also removed his own nano. See if Fate can survive the focusing beam. Does.
Does manage to stick alive here for a little bit longer. Leave does have this duplicate available. He's going to use it, as we might have anticipated. Copies Fate, goes for the Winston. Dropping down, zapping away, trying to get that Primal Rage online. Hasn't been taking too much damage. The heals will come through just to top him up. Then out, Primal out, looking for some targets, just beating and batting. Void around, as can't jet away from him, given the hack, but doesn't get too much done overall with that duplicate. for now, the cart is going to be halted up. That being said, Fleta pushes forward, finds Monk, takes him down. Fate pops a primal of his own. Gaga going to fall. Void finds the kill. Natural hack comes out onto Fade, but damage is already done. Shanghai Dragons on our absolute tear at the moment here on Gibraltar. This should be them getting B.
And they just haven't done enough damage. I mean, Leave's trying to go for focusing beams. The stickies are somewhat landing, but we're not confirming kills. Fate was the only one that really went low there. Lee Jae-gon even saved the Valkyrie for the most part until they really needed it. And of all the things that Chengdu tried to do, they got slowly rolled over there. Shanghai grinds this fight out. The card positioning is so good because of all the deaths that came through after A was capped. All the good positioning obtained by Shanghai. They're going to do the same thing again. Now we're looking towards the Bob. DM's even getting very high up close.
He is, in such a great spot. Dynamite onto both of these supports. Jump will come through. Doesn't have the coach gun right now, trying to jump back. Doesn't successfully get peeled, however, as Void goes forward. But that being said, it's going to be EMP out from Jimmy, managing to catch on to multiple people. Fate does fall. Transcendence used by Izayaki to keep everybody alive. Anisha gets clipped, as you say, by that pulse bomb from Fleta. Struck up into the air from Elsa. Looks for a pick in the back. Will find Lee Jae gone. Both supports are dead.
Maybe they'll recover this one. Nisha's back up alive now. He died in 95, but the rest of the team has held on, especially Gaga coming in. Hack onto Bob as well, took that out of the picture. And for Shanghai Dragons, this is going to be a reset, very important fight win for Chengdu. That could have gone very poorly considering, getting Nisha down is another situation for Chengdu where Monk solo healing is simply not going to be enough. They have to get these good trades in. If they don't get these kills, Elsa got the bomb in there as well. All of these things slowly working in favor of Chengdu to keep them in the game. There's still 3 minutes and 20 roughly remaining for Shanghai, so building up a couple more ultimates, where we can find the picks. You see Gaga on the top side, he's unseen currently.
Void hacked, discorded there for a moment. Jagon in the air with the Valkyrie, just trying to keep everybody topped up here for the moment, but DM falling under the pressure. Big shots coming out of Leave, forces the res. Dynamite in, DM is put right back into the ground. As quickly as he was brought right back out of it. Solid here from Leave. Now dropping down over onto the cart, looking to break down this Winston bubble, get some extra shots woven through. It's going to be bomb into the back. Does manage to find Monk, can't make it far enough around the corner to keep himself alive. In the meantime, Fleta does get the kill onto Leave. Nisha goes in, gets the res, but gets punished for it. They get the counter kill as Leave will fall yet again. Izayaki trying not to get pressured enough to use the Transcendence, does manage to hold on to it in the cart. Yet again, advancing forward, getting closer and closer to C, now just a few meters away. Transcendence and a pulse bomb here from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. Rans out, EMP comes in from Jimmy, does manage to find 3 members with the hack. Transcendence is there from Izayaki, however, keeps everybody sustained. The fight continuing as Fleta dips around the back, they spot Gaga. Now they look to move forward, but Izayaki dives off the start as the bomb comes crashing through. Bomb over the top, Elsa looking for a pick, and it seems like they should be able to stop him, but that being said, Fleta finds 2 of the pulse bomb, both supports. A huge play from him, but is it going to be good enough is the question. He's in on the back looking for Leave. Should be able to take him down, but Leave strikes him out. And now the tank's falling, means that Shanghai are going to be held yet again.
Once again, we look towards the DPS and the tanks being alive for Chengdu. They get the kills required when both supports die. And by the way, this comes in another precarious situation for Chengdu where EMP versus Izayaki's Transcendence. Izayaki's going to have that one available, doesn't get caught in the EMP. And then we're just waiting to see where the frags fall from there. Void initially gets the good fight for Shanghai Dragons around the corner. You see it forces Leave forward, gets him down. Monk even dies self-destruct. I think Monk maybe should have considered Transcendence in that one to stay alive, and they lost so much tempo. Chengdu have held on. It's about 1:10 left, and it's still doable Shanghai, but the Shanghai have lost a lot of momentum here. They've lost a lot of resources as well. Valkyrie's going to have to come into this one. Nisha's going to respond. If Chengdu keep Nisha alive and the EMP hits and Izayaki can't do anything, that could be Chengdu.
They're looking for the jump onto Monk. They take him low, but they haven't been able to confirm the kill. Nisha with that Valkyrie staying alive. Gaga gets on top of DM, finishes him off with the melee hit. Yeah, Rez brings Izayaki back into the fight, but Monk is going to be first on the Transcendence. The EMP coming through from Jimmy. Fleta gets the punish. Izayaki barely holding on, but Gaga comes steamrolling through and completely flattens him. Void out of the mag, and it's going to have to be a disengage here for Shanghai Dragons. One final fight to try to get over the finish line. Fleta spotted, should be able to escape.
See if the self-destructs work for Void, and Void did win the fight earlier. Izayaki close to Transcendence. There's enough resource left remaining for Shanghai to make it work. There's no more EMP for Jimmy as well. Really important to see who Jimmy ends up getting a hack here. If there's a manual hack into Void and he gets DMEC without using self-destruct, that's going to be Chengdu. Bob's nearly available as well. Chengdu can absolutely hold on here. This is going to get close.
Time ticking down, a few seconds left. Flood going in, cannot find the stick. Jimmy, the first one to fall, so not going to be seeing any hacks coming through. Izayaki can breathe a little bit easier here. Doesn't have to get pressured into that Transcendence a little bit early. Fate up into the air as that Primal Rage does come through, but he's just getting focus fired. The Discord Orb in onto the Winston does so much damage. Self-destruct straight in onto the card. Not going to be able to find any kills. Elsa does manage to get the remake as Lee will strike down Flutta, getting a nice headshot through. Transcendence from Izayaki trying to keep everybody else alive, but Lee Jae-gon looking to be the focus. We just see these Discord Orbs flipped through. DM with a very nice shot onto Elsa, the Bob, knocking him out of the mech. They get the finish. The res is there onto Lee, but they have to play the card. They just cannot do it. Gaga comes charging back in, swapping over onto the Reinhardt, but now the heals are cut down. No supports available for the side of the Chengdu Hunters as Izayaki and Lee Jae-gon will clean up the final 4 kills. The Shanghai Dragons do finish Gibraltar, but it's in overtime.
And Nisha gets caught again. Jimmy dies first, so I guess, Nisha wasn't the first one. But you look at that situation where a self-destruct from Void, that was going to be one of the win conditions. That way you're looking towards Shanghai. What have they got to work with here? Void's won a fight with a self-destruct before. Lob's another one in there. Nisha's gone. Nisha's been first pick plenty of times, and that's really, an issue for Chengdu. That was one of the times where the pulse bomb sticks onto both. Except in that fight, Leave, Jimmy, Gaga, and Elsa still held on. They got the counter trades. Leave, especially on that Ashe, has definitely been dangerous. And, we talked about Leave's Ashe. We saw it in the stats before we got into game, before we got into the match today. Leave versus Lip. It's actually Leave versus DM, however, in this particular matchup. And when DM has room to work with, when Void makes that room, when Lee Jae-gong's alive and Nisha's not, there's no manual hack to stop Void. That's going to be Shanghai finding the small edges, small advantages that gets them across the line.
Still very close. Way close. Way closer than we might have anticipated. Too close for comfort here for Shanghai Dragons. Now going to be looking for a very strong start here on the defense. It's like Gaga just going to be going for a blind hook in hope that they can maybe find a Sombra lurking around in stealth. Fairly standard start for Gibraltar.
I think a lot of these fights haven't really gone towards too many ultimate impact fights. I say that when we have the self-destruction, the pulse bombs, but really for me it's been individual picks even in neutrals, and that's where DM's kind of the guy to look at. This is very aggressive coming from Chengdu early actually. Sorry, from Shanghai and Chengdu with just a lot of skirmishing, a lot of low HP bars, and a first kill as well.
Yep, near miss there on the accretion for Jimmy. Falls quite low and DM manages to get him midair. Good pickup, and that's a very good start to the hold here as more and more kills continue to come through. Elsa falling on the back end of the fight. Shanghai starting things off on the right foot. Gaga now going to be swapping back over onto the Wrecking Ball, Elsa to the Diva. Let's see if they can break through this defensive hold.
Zen as well. It's going to be Monk moving over to that hero. I mean, Discord's going to help for sure. Fate's already been discorded. Gaga on the ball is always going to be something that works well for Chengdu. They've lost a minute now. We haven't really had enough distance, but here it is. Could that be the kill required? Is raised.
Well, Flata also getting hounded down. Elsa manages to find him, so res already burned, puts DM back into the fight. We'll have a Bob pretty shortly here. He's 28% away from that, so can use it to delay the card, especially in that underpass if they can stabilize before it makes it to the other side. Playing up on top right now are Shanghai, looking to just pick off the members of Chengdu as they're separated here for the moment. Fate going to be dropping down around the back, it seems.
A little worried for Nisha there because he was still pretty far behind, and again, Nisha has been first pick plenty. This is Gaga in trouble. Discord, Flitter can definitely do a lot of damage. Yeah, pulse bombs available. In fact, look at the ultimates for Shanghai. It's like a minute and 30, and we haven't had one proper fight. Just a lot of skirmishing, but when that fight breaks up and really comes in, it's Shanghai that have the resource.
Yeah, I mean, that defender's advantage being utilized well, and they just, had that initial foothold that allowed them to chip away, get multiple kills, and build up for these ults. So now they're in pole position to be able to defend point A, at least for a little while longer. It's going to be the Flux, gets the catch here onto Jimmy, but cannot get the final blow. It will be topped up here as Fate has to drop down, burning away with the Discord Orb. Lead. In the meantime, finds Izayaki, doesn't get to use a Transcendence. Now Flutta is gone, and it is just a tidal wave washing over the Shanghai Dragons. Void finally managed to defend himself a little bit more as Monk does get taken out, but one kill just leads into everybody dying on the side of Shanghai, and that is point A for Chengdu.
It's also Lee Jae-gon dead as well, so no res to come on through. Izayaki has no idea how he dies so quickly. He just goes from 100 to 0. Lee finds him, probably on an off angle, just double blinks in. Full round of headshots in that one clip, and Izayaki doesn't get to use the trance. If he trances, I guarantee you Monk has to then respond as well. So both teams will have to use a lot of ultimate. That works out well for Shanghai in the long run. Now Gaga trying to apply some pressure, has to be careful.
Do these swaps now, so they're going to be, starting fresh with this D.Va and this Brigida coming through. So it's going to be a while before we see those ultimates. In the meantime, 4 online, Nisha nearly with another Valkyrie. That's the only ult they had to use to win that point A fight. They have a plethora of ults to work with, as the card is already getting ready to come up this final little bend here towards point B. This is where it can get stopped up for a considerable amount of time. The minefield comes out from Gaga. DM falls, and Izayaki is dead. He doesn't get to use the Transcendence again. A huge play from Lee. Follows up to finish off Lee Jae-gon. Now no support. It's the tank line getting ready to be broken down as Void is eliminated. Fate is alive. He does have the Primal Rage. He can try to buy some time, but do they commit in for this? Seems like the answer is going to be yes, as he lurks on top of the dropship for now. Seems like they have no idea that he's here. But no, they will just actually let B go over. Fate now, can he make it out to the rest of his team is the question.
They have to collapse. I mean, and Fate's in position. He's got to go now. The Primal's available. Finally gets a kill. Potentially got the Monk. He's struggling a lot, but they'll get him down.
Okay, does use the Primal Rage. Gaga as well eliminated. Good juggle there on the Jimmy, denying him access to the spawn room. So we get an extra little kill, but it's 4 minutes to hold this off. Obviously, if they get the finish, there'll be a minute added to the time bank for Shanghai Dragons, but, you want it to be even, or you want to just hold them. You do not want them to come in with more time than you have.
Now that B is what the difference is for Chengdu here, because Chengdu get a brilliant time onto B. There's very little resistance from Shanghai. We finally see a fight, and I mean, it's not really much of a fight because Izayaki gets deleted by Leave constantly. Leave has been really putting the pressure out on this Tracer. I think yesterday's Tracer was pretty good, but today his Tracer is really, really good when he's just killing Izayaki on repeat. We are looking towards Shanghai now, finally having more ultimates. They had those early kills as well. They're stopping the momentum from Chengdu. 3 minutes to bleed down. If we can see a few more Shanghai wins, especially off the ult advantage, this is where we can bleed the timer down.
Dynamite from Jimmy, not going to be able to find anything. Just holding it onto the bomb for now. Jimmy scopes in, finds the headshot onto Fleta, alleviating a lot of pressure here for his squad. Bomb out, looking for a pick. Won't be able to find one, but Elsa safely pulled back. Has managed to get back into the back. Kill there onto Jimmy. Rez not coming in yet from Nisha. It's like too precarious of a spot to make it happen. There it is. They finally create enough space. The res comes through. DM now gone. The minefield taking down Fade. Chengdu Hunters starting to push the pace a little bit faster now. Rounding the final corner. Don't have any ultimates other than the Valkyrie about to be online. Only have to worry about a pulse bomb and a bomb so far.
Izayaki waits for Monk to trans before he responds, but when Izayaki uses Transcendence, half his team is already dead. Nisha's got the Valkyrie now. We need to see Fleta pressure with this pulse bomb. Jimmy takes away DM's bomb, and now it's still Shanghai just losing space.
Well, that's a good turnaround here as Monk does fall. The res, however, is available from Nisha, so puts him straight back into the mix of things.
Gaga lived.
Yep, does not get eliminated. Good poking. Monk finding an opening. Leave dropping down. Has another pulse bomb available. Izayaki without a Transcendence. Fate dies. Doesn't get to use the Primal Rage. So now he's going to have to respawn and come back into the fight. There's still a minute 45 seconds on the line here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Izayaki eliminated. Void going to be D-Max. Pulse bomb just lobbed in, keeping them zoned out of the spawn room. The pile driver gets the finish here onto the Baby D.Va. Cart getting closer and closer. Fate comes diving in. The Discord Orb is there. He pops the Primal. Lee Jae-gon falls just 1% away from having that rally. Now the Transcendence out from Monk, rushes his way over onto the cart. They have the minefield, they have the self-destruct to buy space, and they come in and they more than double the available time for the Shanghai Dragons. 2 minutes and 25 seconds for Chengdu Hunters. They do not miss a beat here. They storm their way through to point B, and now they get a solid closeout on C to have an advantage.
And how many first kills are we going to see from Chengdu here that really just put Shanghai away? And we are seeing situations where Jimmy's finding these picks as well. Izayaki of the late Transcendence doesn't get to save the teammates required. Fate dies with Primal Rage. All these small things where for Shanghai, very individual mistakes in some cases, and it's just minor details that together end up giving themselves no benefits here. They're just constantly behind if that keeps on happening. And there were a couple of good fights for Shanghai overall. I think A was a decent amount of slowdown. You're seeing highlights from the attack from Shanghai that end up being reasonable enough to get them across the line, but that was even quite a bit of a struggle. And because of that difference, it's now 2:25 to 1 minute. And 225 doesn't sound like a lot, but it's more than double the amount of time that Shanghai have. So I would even expect that for Chengdu in this opening defense, they can afford to perhaps get aggressive. They can have Gaga roll around, see what they can find. If Leave and Jimmy open the accounts again, picking off players like Iziaki, even DM is losing some of these shores and forcing EJ Gon to constantly go for reses. Some of them he's not going to be able to complete. This is where, you know, for 1 minute, Shanghai are going to be tested. They need a lot of distance.
Yeah. Starting things off, Fleta looking to TP them across, swaps over to the Tracer now. DM sticking through with the Ashe. Gaga here on the high ground, pile driver in, receives the Discord Orb, tries to roll out. They do not manage to get the finish on him. Can re-aggress here in a moment as he gets topped up by Monk and Nisha. Fate going to be matching, moves off of the Winston now over onto the Wrecking Ball.
Really important that Gaga, well, first of all, that he gets out alive, but then also for Shanghai to be able to survive against the initial dive in. Jimmy doesn't connect the shots required. I think maybe there was a bit of help from the rest of Shanghai as well. But if Shanghai start losing members off that Gaga play, they're in trouble. But they are going to be able to get the cart movement into a good position. 15 seconds remaining. If we can just get to the end of A, that could be enough for Shanghai, even if they don't cap.
Jimmy playing over here in the server room. Dynamite up over the top, does get taken away by the Team Matrix. The Discord Orb pulls back. Void and Fate both getting melted. They're trying to keep him in the mech. Desperately need that defense Matrix to try to mitigate some of this damage, but Leave off-screen manages to find Fate. The OT starting to bleed away. Can anybody even touch the cart? The answer is hell no, they cannot. They kill Gaga at the end, but he's creating so much space, causing so much chaos that Shanghai cannot stay on this cart. Great focus fire here from the Chengdu Hunters, and this is a very extremely winnable situation to 3-0 the Shanghai Dragons.
Distance doesn't look good enough. They need to get towards the end of A. Ideally, they cap in 1 minute, but that's, you know, easier said than done. You talk about, I mean, identify where the focus fire was, and this is something that Chengdu have been doing quite successfully, I want to say, for 3 maps now. You can look towards the other 2 maps where the Sombras are getting the correct hacks, focusing on Void here in that final fight. We both saw it. Void and Fate down to critical HP. Fate dies, but it's not like Void can do much more either. He's still low HP, and you need these tanks to be touching the cut when we get towards the end of that time bank, and if Fate can't be there, if Void can't be there, if none of them, if no one's there, I mean, that's why they didn't finish. We just had essentially what could almost be described as C9. I don't think it's truly one of those. It's not like Shanghai were winning and they just walked away. I know Shang9's a thing, but you know that wasn't the real Shang9. That's like a 50% Shang9 at best. But they still don't get to touch. They still don't get to continue that fight. It's pretty premature when we have a 5v5 and Shanghai just don't get to continue because, I mean, we couldn't contest.
Yeah. I was having an argument with Avast and a couple other people last night about this. Not a C9 unless they were winning the fight and then don't play the objective. Shanghai were absolutely not winning that fight. Jump coming through from Fate, looking to get in on top of Monk. Monk's actually chasing him down into the stairwell. He's like, I'm not afraid of you. I have a Discord Orb and incredible accuracy, as well as teammates to back me up. So forces him back over onto the defense. As Gaga just peeking up onto the high ground here, seeing if there's an opportunity for him to roll in. Will not see one, so just joins in on the cart.
Still 1:50 left to go as well, so it's decent time remaining for Chengdu. We haven't seen any ultimates really get pushed up. I mean, it's just another, again, skirmishing. No team's really committed. That's actually decent for Shanghai. The longer Shanghai can draw this out, the more time they bleed down. As we get into the overtime, Shanghai can still pounce and they complete the full hold. That's what they got to go towards now. It's actually going to be the Mercies that will find the Valkyries early. And beyond that, though, I was going to say Jimmy. No. It could be one of the DPSs. It's either Leave or Jimmy that always gets a pick.
Iziaki just managed to find Gaga. So Elsa going to have to be the one playing around on the cart. Monk gets rid of Iziaki. Huge pickup here from him. Fate goes forward, gets a pile driver in to punish the enemies, and Yada falls low, has to pop his own shield. Minefield nearly available to try to create some space and get them off the card. But that being said, Void is gone, Fate is dead. The Mines are not going to do anything, and as you say, that should be it. Lee Gon's going, and he's desperately trying to get the resurrection. He cannot do so, and against all expectations, here, the second day of the 2021 season, Chengdu Hunters meeting Shanghai Dragons for the first time on Watchpoint Gibraltar. They take them down. They get the 3-0 victory. What did we just witness? This was absolutely incredible play from the Hunters the whole way through.
History, Achilles. We witnessed history. That is maybe the most impressive Chengdu Hunters performance ever against one of the most impressive teams. Maybe not in this particular game, but Shanghai have that reputation about them. How does Shanghai lose 0-3, especially the manner of which they lost 0-3? Oasis didn't go to a third round. That was a 2-0, one of which was a 100-0 on the score. Go to Eichenwalde, that was a complete roll, start to finish for Chengdu. Shanghai didn't play Eichenwalde at all. They were completely missing. Go to Gibraltar, give a little bit of hope here, giving the Shanghai fans a little bit of hope. Starting to see some kills coming on in. Void's doing a little bit of carrying. DM's maybe getting some kills as well. Their Flitter's doing some stuff, and they may be working their magic, and they will get the cap, albeit only in the overtime. And then Chengdu have the better time back. So, I'm going to say it. Chengdu played all 3 maps better than Shanghai across the board the entire time because Chengdu, better time bank. You look towards that final fight as well. Jimmy opens the account. He gets the opening pick. The Leave Jimmy duo, even putting Jinmu in there, I truly feel today, Seth, that Chengdu play their DPSs, or their DPSs perform better than the Shanghai DPSs. Flitter and Lip and DM, I don't know, man. Like, outside of a couple of highlights on Oasis, they didn't look like they were doing a lot.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, I agree with you. I think that this is maybe the best Chengdu series that of all time that they've played, start to finish. They've obviously had maps and flashes of brilliance, but I think this is absolutely the best series that they have played. If nothing else, it's the best one that they've played since they went up against Vancouver Titans in Season 2, because that was another incredible series from them where they really played, above and beyond our expectations. But this, a 3-0 over Shanghai, is just absolutely incredible from them. And I don't, if anybody who's had this for their pick'ems, then congratulations. You deserve all the points that you just netted yourself. We'll go ahead and take a look at our player of the match. And, it's not going to be a surprise for you, Avril. You are absolutely spouting about him from the very beginning. Our player of the match is Monk.
And, I mean, look, I said this during the map as well, especially on the Eichenwalde. This is when Monk and Chengdu were at their most brutal one-sidedness versus Shanghai. Is that a descriptive way to put it? And a lot of that comes down to Monk. Like, every single time, I mean, look at this, the sleep on Defade as well. Every single time Shanghai want to make a rotation, they're intercepted, Monk's dropping in all this utility that just lands perfectly. He's just, the skill shots are landing time and time again on cooldown. Individual picks across the board. I think on Gibraltar, other players started to take the limelight a bit more. You didn't see as many crazy highlights out of Monk. You're seeing a lot more of Jimmy and Leave. Jimmy and Leave really, for me, on Gibraltar, kind of carried that game and just, again, opening up those first kills. But Monk, for the first 2 maps, absolutely just put Chengdu in the lead. And that 2-0 lead, potentially, that could be the mental boom for Shanghai. No, it's crazy. Like, 2-0 already is an insane lead. But then to finish at 3-0, unreal.
Yeah, just nasty play the whole way through, whether it was the Ash or the Zenyatta. Nisha as well, shoutouts to him, was a very good comrade here from Monk, constantly going in, getting those reses off, and being able to escape with his life more often than not. But here's his stats for Ana. Almost 16,000 healing done. 12 biotic grenade kills, 19 eliminations, and 5 sleeps the whole way through with that Ana. I would love to see some of the Zenyatta stats as well, because I imagine that those were pretty incredible, especially if you put them side by side next to Izayaki, who didn't really get to play the game today.
I mean, Izayaki just, dives with trance, really. I mean, dives with trance on repeat when Leaves walks up behind him, assassinates him.
Yeah.
And Izayaki just barely got to play the game. I feel like I was casting alarm from yesterday again. It's pretty brutal. Shanghai, I don't know what's going on, man. Like, I don't think anyone really predicted a 3-0 for Chengdu. I think even the most hardcore Chengdu fans who would give Chengdu 3 would have been realistic enough to at least put down a 3-1 or 3-2. A 3-0 just, it sounds like, you can't even say that. No one can say, Chengdu 3-0 Shanghai with a straight face, because it feels like it should be impossible. But here it is. The impossible is now absolutely possible.
Yeah, a fairy tale result here for Chengdu Hunters, and what a great way for them to close out the opening weekend. Can fly high, have that 2-0 starting record, just absolutely wonderful. I mean, I think we're going to throw to a quick little break, but when we come back, we're obviously going to dive a little bit deeper into this series with our crunch time, because there's a lot to unpack. It happened really rapidly, really quickly, so we got to take a closer look, put it under the microscope. So that's coming up in just a few. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
what happened, because there's a lot to unpack. So we're here with our game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves. And if you're just joining us, maybe you just woke up. I know it's pretty late. It's in the middle of the night for some places in America. The stats, they're correct. Everything that you just saw when you woke up, it's all real. Chengdu Hunters have 3-0'd the Shanghai Dragons.
I know.
This is not an alarm. This is not a test. This is not a drill. This is what has happened. This is the reality that we now exist in.
It's like you wake up from your coma. It's like, what year is it? And also, how did Chengdu just beat Shanghai Dragons? I don't understand what's going on here. But to maybe help you understand a little bit in terms of breaking it down, like one of the key factors for me about what Chengdu were doing this game that we're doing so well is their focus fire, their targeting, specifically looking towards the Sombra, targeting as well. You look towards Oasis, consistent neutral hacks onto manual hacks in the neutrals versus Void, looking Eichenwalder as well, shutting players down. EMPs were honestly really, really good coming through from either Leaf or Jimmu, especially Jimmu, like a player that I didn't expect, by the way, to be a really good Sombra, and maybe Leave it, we'll add that into the conversation. Both these players, you don't look at them and say, yeah, Leave was just really good Sombra. You don't look at Jimmu and say, yeah, Jimmu's this really good Sombra. Jimmu's the Pharah guy. Like, this shouldn't be happening. But time and time again, they're able to find these dives, they're able to find these situations where they know what targets they need to go for. In the neutrals, it was target Void, get DJ gone, get Izayaki. We look towards the manual hacks that came through onto Fade onto Eichenwalder as well. We look towards a lot of situations where the combination of damage and tanks landing on the correct targets, knowing where the pressure points on Shanghai was and how to break them. This is why even when we got to Watchpoint Gibraltar, I was still saying, look, yeah, we're playing Sombra again. And maybe the answer is just, you got to target Void one more time. Take Void out of the equation. And honestly, Void outside of that one grab eat on Oasis and Void played the best he could. It's like, there was a whole meme of Void rage quitting out of the server yesterday versus Guangzhou. I think like now after getting 0-3 by Chengdu, that might just be more real than fake. That might not be a meme anymore. No, I am joking, but at the same time, like what a brutal situation for the Shanghai Dragons when you have this coordinated Chengdu team, the most coordinated of Chengdu that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, all the changes, the roster additions and whatnot that have happened during the offseason, it seems to have worked out so incredibly well thus far for the Chengdu Hunters. Obviously, it's still early days. It's going to be, while overall a shorter season, still a very long grind to get through all of the matches and whatnot, let alone the tournament play and whatnot to lead up to playoffs. Things could change, but this is such a fantastic way to start off your season. They're starting off hot, and if they can continue with this, Chengdu Hunters for the first time might be maybe the best team in APAC, at least a top 2 contender. There's obviously teams that we are not seeing this week, such as NYXL and whatnot, but this is such an incredible way for them to kick things off when they have always had middling to poor results. So to come in here and just really assert their dominance off the bat, start things off 2-0, it's just incredible. So I'm sure you're in the same boat as me. We are very much looking forward to seeing how this team is going to continue to develop, whether or not they're really going to have to play around with this starting lineup too much. Like, do we need to see Yveltal when Nisha's playing this well? Do we see any swaps on the DPS when they continue to excel? So I'm curious to see, what pressures will make them make those adjustments if they happen whatsoever.
Who knows, man? I mean, there's 12 members here, and they have some power on the bench still. Like I said, Kaneki is someone that I'm looking out for on the Chengdu side. The guy who plays a great tracer, but I probably slept on both Jimmu and Jimmy, especially Jimmy. In my mind, I was like, do you really need to swap Jimmy in? Like, surely Leave and Jimmu can just cover it, or Leave and Kaneki can cover it. But you look back at that Gibraltar, and question has been answered. Like, Jimmy was getting those first picks, man. Like, this Chengdu roster is for real. And I honestly, Chengdu, to me, have been this mega volatile team. This is definitely Chengdu at the highest of the highs. From now on, looking at Chengdu, I'll just be really looking at, can they keep it consistent? Can we keep Chengdu consistently high, or is this going to be a one-off? That will be the next test for Chengdu.
Well, time will tell. Looking forward to seeing more play from them, in the coming weeks. But that's going to do it here for this series. That's going to do for our game break as well as our crunch time presented by Cheez-It Grooves. So guys, we're not done yet. We have one more series this evening. Coming up next, it's going to be the Philadelphia Fusion going up against the Los Angeles Valiant. So don't go anywhere. The action continues in just a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.
Alrighty, we are back already. Just a quick little break so we can just continue on with the action. We've kind of been speedrunning things here tonight thus far. So back-to-back 3-0s for our first 2 series. Now we get ready to go into the last one. Philadelphia Fusion certainly hoping that they can get a 3-0 over the LA Valiant. But we'll see. I mean, LA Valiant, I think that they kind of exceeded a lot of people's expectations in their first showing. Now we have to see how they fare versus Fusion, who are coming off the back of a strong victory from yesterday.
But that's the problem, isn't it, Seth? Because Philadelphia Fusion also exceeded people's expectations. So now it's just like, if last night we saw a weak Philly and we saw like a good Valiant, and we did see like a reasonably good Valiant compared to what we maybe thought. But if that were the case, then I would walk into the series like, yeah, man, like Valiant, let's go. Maybe that's possible. Maybe Philly with their new roster isn't quite working out. But, dude, Philly coming in with a new roster, we're absolutely banging. Like, holy. Philadelphia are looking like a fantastic team right now. You're saying it's a speed run of an evening, 3-0s across the board. Look, Philly are probably looking at a 3-0. My eyes would be on Valiant to see if they can maybe resist that, put up some maps. They put up one map versus Chengdu. And Chengdu just beat Shanghai. So, transitive property, guys. Let's think about it.
It's true. It's very true. Well, we'll go straight into the rosters here. Starting with the Philadelphia Fusion. I mean, it's not shocking. These are the players that they have in Korea, so they're going to keep playing with these guys. And I was one of the ones that kind of like looked at this, and I saw when they picked up Rascal and picked up Toby and Hotba, that they were still going to have success, even if they couldn't get Funny Astro and EQO and them out here in the country. This is still incredibly strong players, guys that have performed at the top. And, I'm just going to say, I never doubted them. I think a lot of people getting caught off guard by their win from yesterday. I think that they were just doubting unnecessarily. Rascal, he still counts.
Well, I don't think anyone doubts individual members. I think when you look at all 6 members in a vacuum individually, they've all been playing exceptionally. They've had great histories in the league. I think that was never in doubt. I think it was more just coming down to, how does this team function with the newness of it? Because they came in with very, very immediate substitutions. When I say substitutions, I'm talking about like immediate players being signed in. And now looking over towards the Valiant, obviously we saw some decent players coming through. You had Milan Run probably being the one big guy to look out for on Valiant. He's been around for a while. Milan Run on that Tracer was probably, the one area of Valiant that was giving them a good shot versus Chengdu. You had that kind of hilarity across the board in some other areas, though, like Wuya dropping off the map and Volskaya was absolutely hilarious. And I think Crystal needs to step up a little bit as well. As the one guy that has been in the league, Crystal's probably been maybe a little bit underwhelming compared to how he should be, really.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So we'll see how he fares now coming in for their second series. But like you said, I mean, Crystal, he's been around the block. I call him the bellhop because he's a bag collector. So let's see what he can get done versus the lineup of Carpe and Rascal. And I mean, these are two of the tougher TPS that you could try to come out here and have a stronger performance. But we'll keep our eyes peeled and see how things develop. We are on Busan to start things off. And right out the gate, he's seeing a swap up here as Mono's going to be sticking with the Winston Silver 3, going to be over on the Wrecking Ball.
This, by the way, is Valiant's strongest composition. So if Valiant have any hope at all, it's going to come down to this. Crystal and the Ash is what you need. Milan Run of the Tracer is absolutely what you need. They're going to be going up against the double bubble of the Philadelphia Fusion. And it's going to be Zarya coming through from Silver 3, and immediately Rascal dies.
He does. Sleep Dart in onto Shochung. Will fall, but it's widely the fight going the way of the LA Valiant. Good pressure, just everybody pitching in simultaneously. Carpe only going to be able to find one extra kill on the back end there as we will get eliminated, but this will be the first cap going the way of the LA Valiant.
All right, well, there it is. Philly fans already molding, I can tell. I get it, I understand. You've just lost a fight to the Valiant. It happens. Happened to Chengdu. It's going to happen to other teams. Valiant can definitely play. Milan Run got that damage, and Crystal got the opening pick, and we talked about the fact that, maybe Crystal needs to step up a little bit. Hasn't been what we'd expect. This guy's been in the league before. Actually looked pretty decent on Hangzhou when he was on there. And now he gets an opening frag. Just caught on Tomato. Let's see if they can keep the damage up on the Valiant side. And they do.
Yeah, Carpe dead. Dynamite goes through. Crystal finding the kill. Silver 3 just playing up here into the front lines. Crystal's under a little bit of pressure, but we'll get some heals coming through. Gets the headshot, eliminating Rascal yet again. And it's just going to be Wuya, the only one to fall. So, I mean, the delay, the transcendence a little bit further here. He's not alive to just poke and prod at the enemy team. But 40% already established for Valiant here downtown. Carpe is dead again. Crystal, oh boy. Talk about a step up. He is looking phenomenal here at the beginning. And they need to do something very quickly here to try and deal with him. Bomb now going to be chalked out. Showtime manages to find both supports. The Nano does get used before Alarm goes down, but it finds no value really. They get the flip there for just a moment, but 6% and it's right back into Valiant's hands.
What's going on? Crystal is just finessing on top of everybody again. I mean, this guy's collecting the bag. And there's a bounty on Carpe. There's a bounty on Rascal, and Crystal's like, it's all mine. You know, I'm the bounty hunter here. I need that money. Shochen getting those kills. Everyone on Valiant's actually performing reasonably well. Milan got early damages as well. 70+%. Alarm pops in the Nano. He's, you know, at least changing over. Carpe gets that first kill, so finally.
Follows up for a second one. They only lose out on Hotba so far. Rally rolling for both of these Brigs. Transcendence from Huyat does expire. Still fighting away from the point right now on the Philly Fusion. Looking for a couple more picks so they can get their way over there and get the cap coming through. Huyat going to fall. Carpe getting the shot. Rascal dead yet again as Crystal returns to the fight. Good Dynamite is out there from Carpe trying to chip away and burn them down, but Hybe will barely manage to survive. Feeling the pressure, Alarm pops a Transcendence. They're looking for the back cap at the moment. Will be able to find it as Mono plays away from the rest of the squad. They finally establish control, but can they hold it the whole time through? Up to 100 is the question.
Alarm did have to use Transcendence there. Great first pick onto Malara to slow things down in terms of the reset of the Valiant. Hybe staying alive as well, just keeping the Valiant in there. If Hybe goes down, I think the rest of Valiant get cleaned up big time, but that would be really awful for them retanking. You know, they're at the 99%, so only one fight required. It's Carpe versus Crystal for me, because Crystal's definitely been getting the kills earlier on, but now Carpe's woken up in this particular map. If Carpe gets the first kill, it's going to slow things down. If Valiant get that first kill from Crystal, they might just win the point.
Looking for the cap again. Milan trying to go in with the pulse bomb. Doesn't manage to get a stick. Just duking it out here with Rascal on the point and maintains control for the Fusion. Nearly at 50% now. It's a very scattered fight happening on multiple fronts. Minefield's going to be dropped in from both of these wrecking balls. Bubbled up. Carpe a little bit low. Has to pull back to safety. Flip comes back in. 99% here on the board. Now Fusion have to be in onto this point the whole time through until they can get this flip back in the favor, but it might not happen. Hoppa is gone, Rascal's dead, now Toby dead on the back end. It'll bleed away at 153%. Such a strong start and a strong finish here from the Valiant. They take the first round.
What is happening today, Seth? Chengdu just beat Shanghai. Valiant just, okay, it's one sub-map, one round. Okay, well, I'll chill for a second. Let's go to Mega Base. See if we can repeat that. Silver 3 got the opening pick there. And that is when things start breaking quickly for Philadelphia. You need to see Carpe and Rascal get some cleanup. I think Rascal was the guy that died, actually. And it was basically a neutral. I mean, there weren't a lot of ultimates to play with. It's going to come down to who gets an opening pick. I thought maybe Crystal was going to be that guy, but Silver 3, Shocheng's even showing up as well. Hotbar and Mana on mega low HP, couldn't keep up. Here we go. Can Valiant make it a 2 out of 2?
Oh, well, I'm not moving away from the Tracer's going to be going for the Doom Fist alongside Crystal Sombra. Rascal sticking in with the May, so we'll see if this forces any kind of swaps. For now, just playing a part up on the high ground. Throwing in damage where they can. It seems like Fusion want to maybe go for a reset or collapsing in to help keep Alarm alive. So they do manage to take down Milanron. So solid start as the point becomes unlocked.
Milanron maybe oversteps there. I mean, he needs to be able to work with Shocheng, who's really low at this stage. You already have a player advantage as Milanron comes back in. You've got a health advantage as well. You got the cap coming through. Mano's low. If Mano can survive, Philly still have this.
Yeah. They do keep him alive as he drops down onto the point. Carpe playing low as well, just staying in behind this right shield for the most part. Follows him forward. Mono being saved for the moment by this immortality field. Does not fall. Hotba as well. Makes it through the hack. We'll hold on to this. Crystal getting closer to the EMP. Still 30% off. And Fusion, they're playing well far forward now.
They need Nano. Wuya needs this last 10%. He's under pressure. Byron needs himself. And Matrix for the timing as well. This is great tempo play. If you can Nano Silver 3, he can get to the back line. Oh, he doesn't do it.
But he's dead. And Carpe, yeah, he finds the flag. Clean up now coming through. Fusion, they're holding this.
That Matrix is going to charge up the rest of the ultimates as well. It's going to be sleeping to manual hack from Mano, but there's no opportunity so far for the rest of Valiant to maybe connect. EMP will be up next, and they're going to have to dump a lot into this fight. There's still a couple ultimates we're missing. Importantly, Toby doesn't quite have the sound barrier, so this is going to have to come down to Carpe, Rascal, putting down a great wall, using the ice block. Maybe the Blizzard can save them. Crystal? What was that? He just translocated away.
Oh no, it's catastrophic. He gets the nano. It must have dove in front of it and then didn't realize in time as he hits the translocation, but the nano just completely gets wasted. The Deadeye finds 2. Milanron's dead yet again.
Oh, no.
Hasn't even built up for a single meteor strike yet.
That was supposed to be Valiant's fight. Now Toby does have a sound barrel. He's about to get one. Now Rascal does have a blizzard. I mean, the timing was almost perfect. I thought the nano was on purpose. I was like, yeah, I don't know, nano, crystalline, go for the EMP. Perhaps that could be a play. The EMP will be in now. Toby will counter.
He does manage to use it, but the blizzard gets off first, and Carpe picks up 2 kills in the back and in defense mode. Meteor strike forced up from Milanron. He's going to use it aggressively. They get the space jam, finds 2 kills, but is that going to be good enough for them to get onto the point they have to touch? It barely managed to do so, but Carpe is here on cleanup duty, playing the role of the janitor for the Philly Fusion. Cleans up the mess that is the LA Valiant here on Mecha Base. Throws out the Deadeye just to try to clear the point even further. The bubble will buy just a little bit more time, but Silver 3 falls, and that should be the closeout. Crystal tags in for just a moment to extend. Pile Driver now down on the side. Missed time on that shatter. Doesn't actually find Cho-Chung, but Milanron on the re-entry is instantly dead. The flashbang connects. They get the knockoff on the Wrecking Ball, and it's a 100-0 reply from the Philly Fusion. And it looks like Carpe is playing pissed off. He was tired of getting picked off regularly there in that first round in downtown, and he comes in with a vengeance and absolutely shreds the Valiant.
Pretty hard for Carpe to get picked off when, like, the Valiant can't even confirm a dive there, because, you know, we're not even... Shou-Cheng's not in any situation, or Silver 3 rather, not in any situation where the dive can happen. There was that one situation where it was like, okay, Silver 3's in here, he's low, Nano's available from Ouya, let's pop the Nano in, go for the dive, we can find a timing here, that's the time for Valiant. Then there was that other fight disastrously where Crystal receives a Nano, translocates away. Remember how I said the best composition for Valiant is Crystal, Ash, plus Milanron, Tracer. The rest of them can play the standard dive picks between Double Bubble, whatever other version. But this is the one. This is the comp that Valiant basically need the one trick if they want to have any hope of winning.
Well, they have the mirror matchup coming through. Mono swinging out as he gets discorded. Milanron almost dead on the entry. Does manage to get the recall off in time. Snaps back. Pile drive coming through, shield bash on a Mono, but he can just go ahead and cruise out of there. Carpe in the meantime manages to get a shot through onto Ouya. Dynamite over the top, just going to be burning down. Mono does fall, so they lose their front lines. The point is unlocked, but Fusion should be able to push over and start getting this cap coming through. And Valiant, yeah, they just don't even want to contest it, just have to let it happen.
I mean, Carpe's woken up for now. I mean, he needed a bit of a warm-up on that initial downtown. You look towards Mecha Base, he's angry, he's furious, and that just continues now onto Sanctuary. Crystal is at least somewhat keeping pace, not that far behind in the Bob. Gets the kill into Mano as well. If Crystal can just get some of these trades, I mean, really for Valiant, it's pretty clear. Crystal needs to kill Carpe, or Milanron needs to put the pressure on Carpe. There's some damage. Carpe's on half.
Chipping away at him, but they cannot finish him off. Silver 3 just playing around the back, trying to get the minefield online to create some space on the point. Ouya has a nice opening kill, taking out Rascal. Getting the headshot there with the orb. Now with Hotbot falling, this is going to be the big breakthrough that Valiant been looking for. They gain enough pressure here onto the point to inch forward and get the cap into their favor. 33% is all that's snatched up here for the Fusion. So definitely not, you know, a losing situation yet here for the Fusion, but it's a solid turnaround for Valiant, and they have multiple ultimates getting ready to come online.
I mean, I don't want to speak too early, but this is, like, definitely kind of competitive. Like, Mecha Base wasn't, forget about that one, but right now in Sanctuary, because we're playing the good comp for Valiant again, it gets competitive because the DPSs can have impact. Milanron can find these opening picks. Rascal, how many times has he died first? He's at least been pressured still. Pulse Bomb nearly there.
Bob finished off. Pile driver here as they try to focus fire on Hotbot. It's going to force the Transcendence out from Alarm. Ouya still holding on to his own, but Milanron out of the fight as Carpe finds yet another headshot. Rascal just playing up here around the Wrecking Ball, playing around the pillars, trying to stay safe. Transcendence used. Rascal going to be looking for the setup here pretty soon. Pulse Bomb does go out, doesn't seem to find any kills. Flux used from Shou-Chung. Slaps him back down to the ground. Cannot find anything. They lose out on the Wrecking Ball, so all that disruption, the chaos that comes through is now going to be gone, and Hotbot with the accretion will finish off Shou-Chung. So it seems like Fusion, after regaining control, should be able to extend this for quite a while.
There's an opportunity there. Maybe Crystal thinks about the Bob, play the 5v6, find the counter trade, force Hotbot to use the Flux as well. That would be ideal for Valiant. Now Hotbot can actually just open the fight with the Flux if he wants to. It is 50% plus. It's still pretty even. It's 53 to 52 at that stage.
Yeah.
So Valiant at least still keeping up, you know, individually, and I think that's the biggest takeaway is you have to remember, say what you will about, you know, the team overall, but actually individually, some of these members do actually match up, and that's been happening across the board. Here comes that Flux.
Oh, and it's going to be a pretty beefy one. Puts him up into the air, slaps him back down. Shochung going to fall, and it's a great capitalization here from the rest of the Fusion on the back end of the ult. Wuhia, the only one currently alive, does get finished by Carpe, so an extended team kill. And now 80% on the board here for the Fusion. Still a ways away. Alarm 30% off for that Transcendence. Right now it's just going to be the Bob online first.
Crystal actually reset his ultimate there. I actually don't know if he had any anyway. He was on the Widow for half a second. In either case, it's about to be 99 for the side of Fusion. They will have the Bob available, like you sort of mentioned, and there's not really anything online for Valiant, so if there's any way for Valiant to win, it's going to have to come through neutral again. Crystal, Milan run. Somebody has to get an opening pick, and they lose Wuya.
Yeah, they lose Wuhia now. High B is gone. No supports in the fight here for the Valiant as Fusion look to close out our first map of Busan. Alarm under a little bit of pressure, but dips away from the pulse bomb tossed out there in desperation from Milanron. And the cleanup will come through. Philly Fusion, after a very questionable and rough start, they answer back in a pretty convincing fashion, especially Mecha base. They take Busan 2-1.
I think for Philly as well, it's just like, all right, we'll reset a second here. And what's interesting to me is if that was a different game mode, if we were on, you know, like hybrid, escort, whatever, anything else where the momentum can continue off the back of, you know, that opening from Valiant, they could really do some further damage. But that reset between downtown, then into Mecha base, and by the time we got to Sanctuary, I think Fusion just realized what they need to do. They kind of figured out Valiant a little bit. Valiant also not doing themselves too many favors on their comp. You know, it's not really the map for that. You're probably not going to be running Dive with Tracer Ash on Mecha base, to be fair, but trying to go for some Sombra Doomfist kind of thing where Crystal Sombra, is that a thing? Like, does anyone think Crystal Sombra is like, that's the hero we want to see? Milan run Doom. Doom is like not a hero you want to be playing unless your name is Sparkle. Or Mirror maybe. Maybe not because Gladiators lost, whatever. Valiant though, it's not the best. Not the best comp, not the best situation. They didn't start getting good again until Sanctuary, but too late.
Yeah, too late indeed. Well, that's Busan out of the way. Now we have Eichenwald coming up next for Hybrid, so we'll be diving into that in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs.
All right, welcome back, guys. We're just about to jump into map number 2. The team's getting, riled up. They're raring to get into the action. So we already have Eichenwald getting ready to kick off. We'll get that up on your screens here in just a second. But man, what a start! Crazy, beginning there for the Valiant, taking that first round. But it's a very swift and punishing turnaround from the Fusion to be able to take Busan.
Absolutely, but let's not waste too much time. The game is getting underway here. Gates are opening. We're looking over towards Philly Fusion. What is this going to be? Brawl, nice, good. They got on that comp. Rascals May, excellent, as we saw yesterday. LA Valiant looking over towards Dive. It's Crystal and Tracer. Milanron on the Echo. Maybe the Echo could be good. I think in a vacuum, the Echo is a pretty decent pick. Philadelphia are going to go back to spawn, make a couple of changes. Alarm on towards the Ana, and they are going to play a Dive Core. Okay, well, this makes sense because they're up against an Echo, and they are very much respecting Milanron's possibility of popping off on the Echo.
Well, already asleep onto Silver 3. We'll see if they can do anything on the back of it. Just lobbing some shots in, and Carpe. He already finds Crystal, punishing his swap onto the Tracer. Heals coming through. Bionade now out in the Silver 3. They get the shield bash as well. Carpe will scoop the second kill. And already it's the Fusion in onto the point, and that is going to be taken here, barring some sort of miracle turnaround. But with Milanron dying this late into the fight, there's just nothing at all that the Valiant can do. So we dive straight into the game. Fusion dives straight onto the point. 5.5 minutes in the time bank.
I am a back alley composition peddler. Could I interest you in another Los Angeles Valiant Ash Tracer combo where it's Crystal on the Ash and Milanron on the Tracer? Could I possibly interested anyone in that? Because I think that could be where LA Valiant need to go back in to find some success. Have you ever seen Carpe this angry before, by the way? Just getting into that a little bit. We've talked about Decay angry, but how about the Carpe angry? Because that was pretty nuts from him as well. LA Valiant still trying to find the opening into this fight. Philly Fusion haven't stopped pushing.
Yep. Dart not really being contested too much. They tag into it every now and then, just to try to keep it halted up. Good shield bash down on the Rascal, but he can safely recall back up onto the high ground here, just playing around the ramparts. There's Carpe just lurking in the back, looking for any head that he could possibly click on. Mono in the meantime, pushing forward. As that nano boost rolling, just zapping away as both supports will fall in the end. Alarm claiming one of them with the Bionade. As the cleanup comes through, Milanron and Crystal both still alive. Pulse Bomb is here for Crystal, but can he even do anything with it? Not yet, at least, as the whip will go ahead and finish him off, and the cart continues to plow through Eichenwald's streets. I've
never just seen a Nano Winston just scatter a defense like that. Like, he walks into the castle and Valiant like, oh, we're all going separate directions. It's like you turn on the lights in the kitchen late at night and everything just scatters away. Los Angeles Valiant, can we find something? Where's the net? Is there going to be a grab? This grab comes from a hotbar.
Yeah, right in on top, and Shojung's going to be finishing himself off in the end with the right clicks. Milanron tries to go for the duplicate onto Carpe, does manage to take him out, and Crystal comes up with 2 kills. Hop on Alarm, both eliminated, and that's going to halt this card on the bridge for now. Mono leaping back to safety. Crystal ready for them, does get shield bash, recalls to safety, and will go ahead and exit. So a little decent time by now here for the side of the LA Valiant, and Milanron's going to be swapping it up, moves off the Echo now onto the Sombra.
I was actually going to say the Transcendence was, it probably should have saved more members, but we still had some losses there for Valiant, but the rest of the members that did survive post-Transcendence were able to get a lot of work done. Grav is now online finally for Cho Cheng. This is where for LA Valiant, Pulse into Grav has to be that combo we're looking for. Milanron, a hack with the hopper would be ideal here, but look at the card position. It's very far up.
I mean, the card is just rolling in. They finally realized this. They send the Wrecking Ball. The rest of the team does rejoin, but just a few meters away now. Yeah. This is the whole team. This creates a lot more space now for the Philly Fusion to get gathered back up and get ready to, start sieging across this bridge.
Valiant never have an initiative. They have to get this grab in there eventually. Carpe's trying to slow this down again. Dead-Eye in the open. Valiant just can't respond. They need to go into a team fight, but who are you going to grab? Because it's just going to be Mono.
Yeah, Mono leaping down, looking to knock them around here just a little bit. Grab does come through from Shochung, as the Pulse Bomb's going to be eaten by Hot Bus. It denies the Big Bang combo. They still do manage to find 2 kills at the back end of this. Transcendence used by Wuya, keeping the rest of the team alive, and Crystal will finish off Toby. So seems like the hold can extend for a little bit longer, but Carpe, he's looking to say no to that. Gets a flashbang kill in onto Crystal, but now is under a little bit of fire, so has to try to pull back and stay alive. Seems like he's going to be safe for the time being, but the Valiant, they will be able to defend this card.
Hybe with a couple of kills there as well. You did see the hack come through in the hopper, just to make sure they weren't going to stall extra. Milan run 85%, so that's not bad. It's going to be EMP as the win condition. And honestly, now that you look at the time, despite the card positioning being very far forward, because there's only like 2 minutes left, if the snowball defense can happen for Valiant, so we EMP, start finding some other ultimates, Weir gets another Transcendence, and they just survive against the Philly Fusion, we can take this to overtime for sure. I mean, Valiant have that capability, but this EMP needs to land for sure. Toby could be there to cancel it. Alarm doesn't have a Transcendence.
Well, I'm barely missing some of these shots here on a Milanron, who does find the natural hack onto Mono. Nobody in a position to really capitalize and try to get rid of the monkey, so we'll be okay. Sorry, the scientist, I should say. Gotta be respectful to Winston.
Nice. The correction is we're waiting for Milanron to really pull the trigger here. Oh, you're down. Okay, this is it. EMP.
EMP does come out, manages to find both of the tanks. Hotbot trying to hold on here. They're pumping heals into him as best as they can. Deadeye from Carpe gets the finish onto the Baby Diva. Double kill for him, and now his Crystal will fall. Hotbot still continuing to play forward. Has that self-destruct if they need to buy enough space, but wants to hold it for the castle phase. And with that recall, the kill out, or rather the translocation out from Milanron, the cart does move in. So 2.5 minutes, not nearly as strong of a time bank going into the final stretch here of Viking Bolt as we might have anticipated, given how this kicked off. There's some very good time buying from Valiant there, the second spot.
Still enough time though. I think 2:30s are going to be good enough for Fusion here. We're going to move over towards some compositional changes. Mine onto the Rhine. Rascal for the Junkrat as well. So let's spam through, see what happens. And Silver 3 is going to try and dive in with the bubble. But you know, if he overstays as well, that's going to be Rascal pumping in the major damage.
Yeah. Good for the pile driver into the back. So a little bit of damage, but receives quite a bit. Discord orb out onto him. Has to play safe. Rascal getting chunked. Slowly top back up as we round the final corner. Carpe still just sitting here on this high ground. Looking for these heads. Can't quite get the hit there on the Milanron to try to get a finish onto the enemy Sombra. Hotbot is playing well over into the side. The rally's coming out as you do say, so everybody getting armored up now. Appa's still in danger of losing this mech, and it does have the self-destruct to get himself back in, but positioning not going to be too good to try and set up for a major bomb. So wants to hold on to it. Is able to do so. Alarm under pressure. Silver 3 crashes through, manages to find the kill. He does not pop the Transcendence, but doesn't matter. The turnaround starts to come in as Carpe and Rascal find a kill apiece. Cart still continuing to inch further, closer into point C, closer to this throne. Milanron just trying to farm, trying to get that EMP up, and it's just 4% away. The Deadeye out from Carpe to try to buy some space. They need to get Silver 3 out from behind the cart. The EMP will come through, interrupts the Deadeye, but Carpe says, hell no, does not matter. Still manages to get him in mid-air. Self-destruct now going to be thrown over towards the throne. The bubble is there from Cho Chung. It's going to be good, keeps himself alive. Minefield there from Silver 3. Does fall on the back end as he tries to create some space for the rest of the squad, but Philly Fusion continue to persevere. They find 2 kills in the back end of the fight. Alarm is back in the mix of things and still holds on to the Transcendence.
And so is Wooly as well. Valiant have actually done a reasonable job just slowing the game down. What happened to the tie from Rascal? Crystal gets a solo kill onto Rascal while he's trying to get a kill on that tie.
Push it back!
Oh, they had a grab.
That's a painful one.
No.
It's a great play from Hotba. He sees, he knows that they're getting ready to move in that moment. They want to touch it in the last second. He charges forward with the boosters, gets that boot back, and it's good enough for them to roll through. So they do manage to finish with time. This absolutely could have been an OT hold.
They were laughing to the bank on that when you see the face of the players. You look towards Valiant, they're like, oh no, Milanron knows.
What have we done?
Yeah, that could have been a much better defense. And I was dishing out the compliments. And I was like, oh, this is a decent defense. They've put down the timer. It's been, you know, a good slowdown. Rascal's Junkrat Gambit doesn't really pay off, and Alarm's not there. He's dead. He's not there for the trans win. The EMP rolls through, and it seems like a reasonable slowdown from LA Valiant to at minimum pushes into the overtime, which would be ideal when we start thinking about time bank situations. However, now that we roll things around back into LA Valiant attacking, can they finish the map? Because we don't even want to talk about time banks if they're not going to finish the map yet. And it could just be, honestly, Achilles, you look towards that last moment. Sure, LA Valiant don't touch. The Grav wasn't used. The Transcendence wasn't used. But we might not even get to see. This has to be a very good attack now from the LA Valiant to really push us to a point where that will matter. So we can even find out the last couple of moments there. You see Silver 3 trying to come on in. Good boot from Hotbar as well. And just LA Valiant weren't there.
I mean, Hoppa gets the boot, but it's poor communication there from the Valiant. You know, nobody calling for Crystal to go and touch the cart. Absolutely could have done so. But yeah, they get scrambled. They get so reliant on, you know, Chuck being able to push in to get that tag. And it costs them dearly. So somebody check on Tayzonde. Might not be feeling well after that end of the map. See how they pilot this attack now, though, as it's still going to be Milanron here on the Sombra, trying to farm up. Pushing out the side, taking quite a bit of damage. Carpe is just trying desperately to get the kill. Hasn't been able to do so yet. Hack not quite going to be completed, but Rascal falls. Booyah finds a kill. That's a great opening here. Sleep Dart does go through. They get the anti-nade on the Silver 3, however, and Carpe will manage to find the finishing blow. He's looking for Booyah now. Takes him low. Hasn't been able to get the finish, but seems like for now, they've bought enough time for Rascal to rejoin.
This is really interesting gameplay from Valiant as well. And I say interesting, I mean, like, it's not really working. Malaran's been slipped here. There's going to be pushed back. I was expecting Malaran to just go for the invis, find a hack for the dive, but he's gone for the farming instead, and I don't know if they'll have time to farm. They actually have a fight going. Currently, Silver 3's low. They get Mana first.
Yeah, good Disco Orb out, but it's going to be traded as Sochunk falls, further delaying that Graviton Surge, but she has not been able to build up that much percentage. Just now at 39%, so he has to wait to respawn. Still playing up onto the point, but Carpe is alive. Recalls back to the opposite side after taking down Crystal. Now Silver 3 is gone, and Fusion, yet again, they manage to persevere. They come out on top, and it's 2.5 minutes remaining for the Valiant. They have to win on the back of this EMP, but they have no other ults to couple with it.
They didn't even get a tick. It looked like they were going to win that one. Then Carpe came on through. Angry Carpe gets a couple of frags again, and not a single tick. We have another 6v5. We've seen Valiant 6v5s before. EMP lands.
Does manage to connect on multiple members. Alarm falling.
Got to kill Rascal.
Hack now going to be expiring. Rascal is alive. He can use the duplicate. Silver 3 going to fall, and Carpe, of course, is still in the mix. He's in the back line. He's got the pulse line online. He's going to move forward. He finds the stick. Doesn't manage to get the kill, however. Cannot get the takedown. And that is crucial here for the Valiant. Swinging through, Toby stuck. Pulse bomb from Crystal is good. Eliminates the enemy Bring. We'll see how much more he can do. Trying to tick up here onto the point at the moment. First tick almost on the board. The cleanup now, no DPS. The front line broken down. It's just the supports alive. With a minute and a half remaining, this will be the Valiant taking point A.
Good tenacity shown by Valiant there. I mean, look, it was looking like it was sliding down poorly. They get the 6v5, they get the big EMP, and you're still not entirely confident that's enough for Valiant to hold on, because Carpe's still there, Rascal's still there. He survives EMP, has a duplicate available. But then it comes down to the Valiant surviving through Perseverance. 3 minutes and 45 is going to be enough to, you would imagine, push through. They have the Graviton Surge, which we didn't get to see on the CD fence. Same with the Transcendence from Booyah.
Well, so far, Fusion not committing to the cart yet. Just poking out, looking to see if they can take anybody down. Lanron looking for the hack, but Carpe instantly just identifies where he's at, so he's putting the damage through so he can't complete it. Silver 3 taking a nap somewhere. We'll be okay. Right here down in front, movement. So yeah. Now it can be, though. They finally break through. Bionate onto 2, but yeah, he gets the kill onto Carpe, so it's a good opening, freeing up so much space for the back line. They don't have to play constantly under pressure. Silver 3 just looks to disrupt the high ground here. On the rampart, swings back around. Doesn't have another pile driver. Graviton Surge finally built up, so Chung going to be using it, but it's going to be Hybe who gets eliminated. The Transcendence Ruya is too late to save his co-support's life. Mono, Hack getting beaten and battered, will fall in the end. Now they push out to get back over onto the cart. Hoppa continuing to play indoors here. Scarpe rejoins the fight, finds Booyah, and Silver 3 will get beamed down by Rascal, so it seems like Fusion should be able to stop this.
Valiant are too keen to start a fight here. You actually need to see the Valiant just free push a little bit longer. You know that Fusion are still trying to regroup. You know that Fusion are still trying to reset here. Why force a fight that early, especially in a situation where Crystal doesn't have a pulse bomb? You go for a grab. It's going to be hard to confirm the damage. There's still plenty of, the rest of Fusion there. Carpe is going to still be doing damage. You need to catch some really important members. If you just force the Fusion to come towards you, have them contest the cart, go for a grab there. Crystal has a pulse bomb. You have the EMP in the open. You want an EMP in the open, not in a small room. So they get baited into playing 3 alternates in not an ideal situation for the Valiant, and they lose momentum off that.
Yeah, it's been a pretty major stop up now. Might be trying to get the rally online so he can match Toby. Becomes available. Crystal going in, trying to use the pulse bomb. He does use it, but doesn't get anything for it. Carpe finds the punish. Huge plays continuing here from Carpe, who looks like he's ready to pick up his second player of the match already in the season.
Yeah.
He's been playing absolutely out of his mind since the the initial burst on downtown. He's just been playing like a man possessed.
He's hacked.
Yeah, Mono dropping down into the back lines. Hybe is dead. Wuya antied. So very low. He's going to force the trance here on this fight rather than save it for the future. They do manage to turn around onto Mono, getting a kill. Hop up, forcing use the self-destruct, pulls back to safety. Will be able to remech, and they lose Crystal in the fight. Cart inching forward at the moment here from Silver 3, but everybody collapses in, and Ouya, I can't help but feel like he should have held on to that for this final fight.
I mean, that being said, though, they did get the kill off. That so the 5v5 was possible, and then they got the responding trade. The issue there for me was they didn't clean up Carpe. They got the manual hack on him, but I think the damage focus wasn't there because they were trying to take a fight elsewhere. That's where we see the Transcendence. That's where we see Hopper using the self-destruct as well. They also didn't stop Hopper from remeching. He was quite low in the Baby Diva form. If they get the Baby Diva of Hopper, that could have gone very well for LA Valiant. Now it's going to be final fight. Grav available. This Grav really needs a hit big.
It absolutely does. Minefield layered in on top of that, perhaps. Still a ways away from the EMP. Shochung pushing up along the side. He's looking for Alarm. They managed to find the kill. Now they're looking for Mono. He'll pop the Primal Rage. Displaces them, knocking them back. In the meantime, dead by the hands of Carpe, who is still alive in the fight. Rascal falls before he can use a duplicate, however. And things start looking a lot better for the Valiant on this push. Mono's still alive. Hotbutt as well. They need to get the touch on the card. Pulse Bomb available for Crystal. See if they just concede it. Now, it will be the Minefield coming down as Hoppa plays forward. Gets broken out of the mech by the mines and all of the chaos. Pulse Bomb in, finds Toby. Mono dead. And with no front line, with the heals severely limited, the duplicate still is going to be used by Rascal, but he's stuck up in the air in the animation, so we'll get no value whatsoever. Will not be surprised whatsoever if we see the swap off of the Echo now that we move indoors. We're going to look at a replay from well long ago, it seems.
Yeah, that was the EMP that lands on the 4 members, and this is Rascal at 99%. Basically, it's just to show how LA Valiant eventually get across the line, but back on towards this attack. Rascal obviously going over to the Meg. So yeah, the duplicate was like a free anyway. He didn't want to play on the Echo.
Wow.
Along with the initial kill to Booyah, already stops the pressure. Oh, that's sleep.
Oh, he gets to sleep with a Milan run. Oh, Carpe instantly there on top of him. Gets a dink on the Crystal as well. Forces that recall. Back over now towards Carpe, and Hoppa will have the finish. Good start. Milanron looking to take a little leap out of Rascal's book. Goes for the Junkrat.
Except this Junkrat actually plays well into the comp that Fusion have, whereas I think the other way around wasn't quite there just yet. Fusion weren't, Valiant weren't playing into like a heavily brawl, which is where you want to use Junkrat to play into. Now you would expect that Milanron should be able to do a decent amount of damage. Alarm has Nano though. At this point in time, Fusion just want to delay as long as we can. It's now going towards overtime. Shoching's down.
He's down, High Beam, getting dropped as well. Silver 3 finished off by Hotba, was frozen as well in place. With a few seconds remaining, they're running out of options to be able to even touch the card. Crystal will manage to find Mono, but they just can't quite make it there. Fusion playing off of the cart, back through the doorway. They force the hand of the LA Valiant, and they crumble under the pressure. Philly Fusion, they win out on Eichenwald, and now they find themselves here at 2-0.
I mean, it was a reasonable effort from Valiant to even get that far. Like I was thinking in my mind, then maybe, are they going to be coordinated enough, get the damage and get the picks required to even cap A, cap B? B was actually, for most parts, kind of smooth, and they had a lot of free push, even towards the end here. Decent advantages. That last grab on B coming through from Shoching was actually pretty banger. Like, that hits Alarm. They canceled Toby's rally. Huge to kill both the supports, and that gets them across the line for B. You get to see, though, they just don't have the time. I think we just saw Valiant go through, slowly grinding through the map, but Eichenwald is the kind of map where you got to have a decent time back to even finish the whole thing. If you only go in to see with overtime, I mean, most teams don't finish the whole map if you only have 1:30 left.
Yeah, I mean, rough tidings for them. Valiant, we'll see if they can pick up a single map here. If not, start a little snowball effect to try to pull off a reverse sweep. Would be a very tough task for them, given how Carpe has been playing in these first 2 maps of the set. But we'll see if they can pull it off in just a little bit when we come back after a break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
Alrighty, we are back, and we're getting ready to go into what could be, you know, again, the final map of the series. It's been double 3-0 so far, and so far this isn't looking that much different. It was a really strong start for the side of the LA Valiant, but things have definitely slipped out of their fingers. Carpe is absolutely starting to just dominate the lobbies. Now we have Watchpoint Gibraltar coming up to see if the Valiant can stabilize and pick up a win to extend the series.
And, I mean, there's enough there that I want to believe Valiant can do some damage. If Valiant were the team that everyone preseason expected them to be in terms of where the results were, then really there should have just been like a full hold from Philadelphia. There should have just been Valiant getting nowhere, couldn't do anything. But I think Valiant have really put up a good fight. I want to speak a little positively about Valiant if I can, because you look on Busan, there were some good things there. You look at Eichenwalde, it's not all bad news. You can tell that Philadelphia Fusion are clearly the better team, though. When push comes to shove,
sure,
on an individual level, like on a team level, especially on a team level, actually, they are going to edge out the LA Valiant. Like, LA Valiant have to play like really well, kind of flawless. You need their big members to really hit up the frags. Wuyo's actually putting up some big numbers here. He's got a lot of opening frags. That's really going to help. Shocheng on Zarya has done reasonably as well, which is why when we go into, you know, Gibraltar, double bubble, put Shocheng back onto a Zarya. This is a sniper map, which means Crystal can go on the Ashe again. Like, these are, in my opinion, kind of keys to victory for Valiant. And when I say keys to victory, really, I'm just like, what can Valiant do? Well, this is what they can do.
I'll see if they can stabilize here. But I agree with you. You know, this isn't the meme team, I guess, in quotations, that everybody kind of had anticipated when the roster announcements started coming out for the Valiant. They're putting up fights. They're not just getting completely washed out of these games. You know, it was a great start from them as well with Busan, and it seems like they, well, okay.
And let me add to that as well,
back over to the Sombra and the Tracers, going back and forth.
Let me add to that as well, as that's an insane stat, by the way. Carpe, third most solo kills in Gibraltar. Yeah, jeez. Fun fact as well is, like, Christopher gave an interview with Yiska, and in that interview, you know, even Christopher, the coach of Philadelphia Fusion, was saying that in APAC, any team can actually kind of beat any team. Like, it's not that wild. We just saw Chengdu 3-0 Shanghai, so I mean, that statement really is true. And even now, it's like Valiant, like you said, they're not like the meme team. They can, if you're not coming to the game prepared, Valiant can take maps off you. They can take fights away from you. You can really see them do some real damage, except right now when Carpe destroys Crystal. But
until he does that. And that's when it gets rough. Just keeping him honest, it would seem. Milanron back over onto the Tracer. Let's see how he can fare now. It's a great performance from him on Busan. So looking to replicate that downtown play.
And by the way, Crystal should outrange Carpe. So, like, Carpe killing Crystal in that opening is insane for that reason, being that Crystal's Ashe should be able to outperform Carpe's McCree at a reasonable distance. And, you know, a lot of the poke needs to come on through. Crystal, Milan getting those opening frags. Wuya maybe getting an opening frag. Harder to do on the Ana, I'll be honest, versus the Zen. But still, let's see what we can find from Valiant. Another first death, though.
Yeah, Milanron now going to be taken out. He's building up quite nicely for a pulse bomb. It's going to give some extra room to Rascal try to build up. Shocheng slept for just a moment there. Just a brief one, though. Still going to be okay, but unfortunately the Valiant, they haven't really been able to get to the card. They injured for it just a little bit, but everybody's just kind of stuck inside these rooms here on that initial, you know, pathway across the top, so rough tidings.
They should nano here, and I'm glad Silver 3 changed over to the Winston as well, because Ball's not a good nano target. He slept. Okay, we really need the nano. If they just nano, they can start opening this fight properly. They're kind of still free pushing right now, so buying that time. Here we go.
Carpe with the Electric Cowboy, inching forward, looking for somebody with the Dead Eye, just sends him back around the corner. It's enough time bought. The Rascal will get on top of Silver 3, find the kill. Adba, however, does get traded out before he can get that grab online. This gives a bit more wiggle room for Shocheng to try to catch up. Currently at 78% for that ultimate. The cart can start inching forward now. So decent amount of
That
distance.
kill, by the way.
They will go ahead and control this high ground.
Shoucheng getting Hopper down is really important because it resets Hopper's energy here and it allows Shoucheng to catch up on the grab and on Surge. Shoucheng was like 20% behind, but now he's actually got the grab. Let's see if they can actually punish. We need to see a grab coming on through onto some decent members. Mano is low, but the Primal is available.
Carpet gets Crystal yet again. Flashbang catching onto 2, follows up for a second kill onto Hybe. The pulse bomb is good, and it is just an absolute explosion of death and destruction here at the hands of the Philadelphia Fusion, just wiping the floor right in front of point A. Valiant now coming back in. I mean, you're talking about energy resets, and here's Hoppa with 50.
I think Carpe really wants that MVP again. I think
Carpe just wants to enjoy the rest of his weekend.
He's want to get it out of here. He's fragging so hard. On this McCreevus, we just destroyed Crystal again.
Yeah.
And at this stage in the game, I mean, okay, Shoucheng still waiting on the grab, but this is going to be the fight. Grab into a Bionate, that's the win condition. The harder thing to do would be to find the grab, and that's not in terms of it being eaten away. You can just put a grab down. How many members can you actually catch inside of it?
Low energy at the moment. Nate comes out, boosting up the healing here on the Shoucheng. Looking for that opportunity. Carpe wrapping around the side, gets some shots in. Onto Milan Run, cannot get the finish. Grab comes through, finds Hoppa. He's going to self-bubble. Carpe with the Deadeye will finally finish off Milan Run, but they lose Rascal in the exchange so far, 1-for-1. Cheng pushing forward, finds Hotba. Trading up positively now. Looks for a little bit additional here on the Toby. Primal Rage from Mono, trying to cause some disruption, trying to get them away from the cart. Just 0.29 meters left to go.
Here we go.
Coming through. It seems like they should be able to persevere through this. The Rascal returns, finds Crystal. Silver 3 still going to be dead. The Pulse Bomb finds Hybe, but the cart does glide in. They can't quite stay glued to it long enough. Rascal will get finished off here in the end, so we'll see the doors open up into the hangar bay. And Valiant to get a second lease on life.
And these extra kills with the Valiant might give them some momentum as well. I mean, Wuya is actually doing reasonable here. You see that Sleep Dart onto Rascal. He's trying to do his best impression of Alarm, who, you know, just swaps over to Lucio to contest. We'll go back over towards Anna, and it'll be a rough matchup to go up against Alarm's Anna, especially after what we saw yesterday. Okay, Fusion, nearly on the grab. Hopper, no energy, but some time to rebuild that one. Right now, it's about Valiant getting as much free push as possible. All have to be Fusion, looking for the play, looking for the dive, and what is that sleep on the Crystal?
I don't know, but he connects it. Bionate as well, coming through. Alarm is just weaving these in. It just shows Sheng and Hybe. Silver 3 now dead. Rascal pushing forward here inside of the dropship, helping to find the kill. There's Hotba building up that energy. He's got the grab online. Now just needs to wait for an opportunity to use it. Try to shut down this push. Sheng, however, is catching up, just 11% away from the grab of the zone. But no energy.
This is where Valiant are kind of concerned, because usually they would still be pushing. They're forcing, you know, Fusion to come to them, but they're scared of the grab. The grab comes in. Looks like a solo so far. Shoucheng's not dead. He's been nanoed.
This gets turned around completely. Yeah, they look for it. Now the grab online for Shoucheng. He builds up his energy.
Oh my god.
The Deadeye used by Carpe to try to zone them back, but Shoucheng doesn't give a damn. He just plows on. They get the kill, and suddenly this time bank has been saved.
Dude, Hopper solo grabs, and they don't get the kill. And this is where Valiant, to me, I was thinking, look, Valiant, they're trying to find a fight here because they don't want to push the card and get grabbed. And the grab didn't even matter because the nano comes on through. Shoucheng melts everyone down, has the energy, has the nano damage as well. And they can't be while that happens. So there's no extended fight. There's no Fusion coming in for a final contest. And there's enough time now for Valiant that they can get some good distance. Can they cap? 2 minutes might be rough, but they can get the distance. And the nano comes in from the lab to try and slow things down.
Well, they really want to kill Wuya. Mono playing forward with the nano. They commit the pulse bomb to it as well. They do get the kill onto the enemy Ana. This is going to buy some time here for Fusion as Hotba wraps around onto the high ground here. Jump up from Carpe. Like very far forward. Just waiting for Milan to show his head, but gets the poison, so does have the reveal, and with the extra little damage there from Rascal, they will be able to finish him off.
Way too much slowdown here. I mean, Valiant have lost too much time. I mean, if we're talking about trying to cap, Valiant would need an extremely good fight going their way. This time they don't have a miracle grab. We're still far away from Nano. By the time we see Nano or anything, we're going to be down to just the 1 minute. And the cart's not far up enough that that's a reliable enough amount of time to just swing across to get the cap, because Fusion aren't just going to fall over.
No, they're not. Bob online, pulse bomb nearly there. They have the nano. Further away on all of the other ultimates, though, are the Valiant. Into the back goes Mono. Primal Rage is online. Nano Boost used on the Silver 3, but he's going to be taking a little bit of a turn nap over here by the Spawn. Bob now going to be chucked out. Rascal dead. Hybe finds the kill. Good opening. The cart can continue to advance now. The backline pressure is not available. Carpe getting chunked out. Pops the walls. Be looking for some heads to click on. So far, haven't been seeing too much of the Widowmaker in the kill feed. Pressing forward, though, yeah. Nano is in. Mono is going to be the one scooping the final blows, but look at this juggle. Everybody in the stairwell. They rip them to shreds. The team kill comes through with 30 seconds left on the clock.
Really important that Hotbird doesn't blow the grab there, because now they have the grab pulse combo for the final fight. For the side of Valiant, it's just going to be the grab. Crystal's trying to mash Carpe on the Widowmakers here. I guess that could work for them. I mean, one good pick from Crystal could be what gives the advantage over to Valiant, but the same is true. Look, Carpe could absolutely do that as well. There's more ultimates on the side of Fusion for now. In fact, if Fusion go for an early grab, that could really ruin Valiant.
That again, Crystal looking for a shot. Sees Rascal there for a moment. Doesn't get the hit in.
Oh my god,
now we're into OT. Yeah, it was dangerously close, but they got him this time. It's not going to be an Eichenwald situation. They do force out the OT.
Got it.
Oh my god, the sleep to get Silver 3 off the side of the map. The Primal not going to be able to find anything, and then here we go. That is just going to be the shutdown. The Nano has to be used on a Hybe, but nobody can get over to the cart, so it will rest right here. That is the push gone for the side of the Valiant. And man, what a, alarm. What a performance from him here on this map specifically, but getting the shutdown onto Silver 3 as he goes for the dive in.
Oh my god.
Can we get a replay of that, please?
What a flex. Like, Wuyo's been doing some good stuff. Don't get me wrong, like, Wuyo's like mega underrated on this team. Because everyone's like, Milan run. Wuyo's doing okay. Trust me here. But then Alarm's like, no, but I'm Rookie of the Year, remember that. And then he does that sleep dart onto Silver 3 while he's primaled, sending him off the edge. What in God's name? How is that
I really
possible?
hope we can pull it up, because that I need to see that. Yeah, here we go.
Oh!
No. Oh, no,
Oh, that hurts.
no, not like this.
No,
I mean, that's one of those moments where if you're Silver 3, you just got to shake your head and get right back into it. But
well, that's what
Silver 3
versus that's what Silver 3 versus Grandmaster looks like. I don't know what the problem is. I mean, it's just that's what you expect.
Oh man, that's a funny one. Clip it with the new clip feature here on YouTube Gaming.
Right next to the rewards button. Make sure you connect it to those rewards, am I right?
Which that's all you have to do, by the way. Just connect your account. You don't have to spam drops. I know you are all doing it, you know, on purpose because you think that you're funny, but you're not.
I feel bad for the people doing it unironically, like, oh, this doesn't.
Oh, this must be the way that I get drops.
I'll be starting out on the Widowmaker again. So, I mean, we talked about the fact that Carpe was on the McCree early on. He gets outranged by Crystal. He's actually still fragging Crystal. Now he's going to outrange Crystal on the Widowmaker, which, you know, maybe a little bit later Crystal might think about changing as well. But overall, it is my opinion that Ashe outperforms, which is the kind of pick for this map, just because the extra dynamite, the Bob's a better ultimate. Silver 3 was actually Show Chunk that's mega low, but Silver 3 as well is on half.
Yeah, they just collapse in onto him as he tries to play forward. Gets punished for that. Now pressing up is Mono. Just tagging in onto, we can't Hybe just a little bit, but the cart is getting pretty much a free pass through the car wash, the underpass, whichever term you prefer. I'm not sure which way you swing on that fence.
High ground's been taken now as well. Because of early deaths, because Silver 3's gone, you don't have this LA Valley that would normally have a defensive position. Crystal is on 1 HP as well.
Yep, and Rascal's there for the finish. Carpe was trying to get the kill and has to drop back, though, takes a decent chunk of damage. Bionade out into both supports here on the side of the Valiant. Wuya and Hybe both trying to stay alive. They will get topped up if the Bionade gets used. Jump in now, Nano Boost out onto Silver 3. Doesn't have the Primal to couple in with this. Can't really even chew through the bubble of Hotba. Now pressing up, gets a little bit of leap damage in, but Bionade comes in. The Nano used onto Hotba as well to try to keep him alive. The cart is now, since ramping into point A, just a little bit too slow on these wraparounds. As Carpe up close and personal finishes off Crystal, but that's point A taken and a massive time bank here for the Fusion.
Yeah, I mean, were there any tanks? I mean, we know where Silver 3 was. I'm not too sure where Shocheng was, but no one touched. Like, Milan wasn't there. So it's just free pushing, 4 minutes 30. It's a lot. It's 5 ultimates available as well. It's Grab coming online. Not a lot to look at in terms of Valiant. They're not quite being spawn camped, but Carplay has full eyes on. Infraside adds even extra eyes. And at this point in time, with even Mano going far forward, Alarm just gets asleep on the Milanra, just pounds him. What's going on? Valiant, they're getting wrecked.
They're falling apart at the seams. Now, 4 members dead. Silver 3 going to be joining them pretty quickly. There's Hanpa. Just beams his way through 3 members. Filling the kill feed there. Carpe pushing up, gets the shot. Now he's looking to cut off
There's so many
the
bad
respawns.
spawns. They have to jump off the map.
There's a contest there for a moment from Milan Run, but there's just not much that he can do. And yeah, as you say, then he gets sent off the side. Mono does the Primal Rage, and he's sending them off the side. And
I mean, they're resetting anyway.
Pretty fantastic match.
It looks like he's just doing a lot, but I mean, to be fair, Valiant are trying to reset. You see everybody respawning as the camp's coming through, and you're like, these guys are all dead. They're all dead. They can't do anything. Can you contest? I mean, they're not close enough to. It would have to be like Milan Run jumping onto the point and doing all 3 blinks and a recall, trying to keep it alive, and the rest of Valiant finally get there. But that's not realistic. So what ends up happening is you got like 5 people that just get a bad spawn, and now Valiant don't even get to have early position. I mean, look at this area of the map. This is normally defensive side. Like, the defense is supposed to have that top right high ground, but because they're all respawning, Fusion just take it.
Yeah, they completely lose out on that opportunity. It's great posturing here from the side of the Fusion. Nearly 6 ultimates online, though, for the side of the Valiant. So can they stop this cart? As we are just about 15 meters away or so. Not really good with the metric system. Milanron getting hopped on, forced to use the recall. Crystal dead, uses the bomb and his dying breath. Not sure quite where it went, or if it really even got through there into a decent enough position. Hoppa continuing to play forward. Grab coming through, trying to offer up these bubbles. Doesn't manage to save them though. Toby and Rascal will fall. Preppy finds a shot onto high B, but without mono. Just Hotbutt trying to stay alive. Wants to retain this energy. Does get a kill onto Shocheng, but will fall in the end as Crystal gets a very nice headshot, denying that energy save. They buy a little bit of time, but it's still nearly 4 minutes here. There's alarms around the back. Yeah, there's not much to be done
That's
there.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like, even though they win this fight, it's a marathon from here on out. And by the way, Valiant had 6 ultimates, just down to 1 now. So they spent 5 to get that fight win. And yeah, I mean, okay, that's a good shot. Nice, not bad. Carpe is going to be fuming from that one, which means Carpe is just going to blow everyone's heads off. Respawns. To be fair, Fusion also invested at least a couple of ultimates in that fight. 4 minutes, well, 3 minutes 20 now. We need to see a lot more crystal headshots. We need to start seeing these ultimates come online. Shocheng Huya looking over towards them. The rally can give them some defense. Once Hopper's ready to go, once Fusion get aggressive, High B needs to pre-rally really quickly just to get that armor up.
Insta dink there onto Shocheng. Able to capitalize. It's Carpe looking around the back. He wants this kill on the Milan Run. Seems like maybe Milan Run is privy to Carpe's positioning though, so dashes out. Grab now going to be used here by Hanpa, and they're just zapping them all on top. Bristol does manage to find Rascal off screen. Goes out on high B. Rally does get canceled. We got having a decent little bit of armor here. Milan Run barely survives with 1 HP. Beaten, battered, but does manage to survive. Gets that pulse bomb up and online as Mono desperately would like some healing, but Silver 3 moves up, gets the melee hit. 2.5 minutes now remaining. Graviton Surge is here for the side of the Valiant. Maybe they just can pull this off. It's going to take a lot of Shocheng really deep, but if Crystal can keep nailing some shots, then it definitely becomes a bit more possible. Good solo grab effectively used here onto Hotba. They get the finish onto him, making him reset his energy yet again. Now Toby falls. Shocheng doing a damn good amount of work here to try and drag them across the finish line.
All right, buying more time for LA Valiant. This is good. So they solo grab Hotba, and the Nano was committed to that one as well. So that's even better for LA Valiant. Normally that wouldn't be like the best play. Like, okay, you solo grab one guy, and it's like, is that the max value you're gonna get out of the grab? But with the fact that the Nano was there, with the fact that Hotba was high energy, ends up being a good trade. And then they get the rest of the kills required. Hotba's changing over to Diva now. Alarm onto the Zenyatta as well. So they're moving away from the double bubble. Rally is available. High B, by the way, he popped that rally pretty late because they never knew where Hotba was. And Hotba on the flank on that initial great grab. That was a bit of a scare for Valiant. But with 1 minute 30 left, there's a world where they can actually hold, but they need this Nano.
Especially if you get that shot. Great read from Crystal. As the Carpe's going to be popping up. Checks the angle in the perfect time. Nails him. See if Carpe's just going to be sticking through. I think he kind of has to just to be able to match Crystal and try to eliminate him, but getting a sightline on him is going to prove to be difficult. Rascal as well can't do much. Once you get into the back line, try to get this pulse bomb down onto somebody like Hybe. Instead will jump in onto Crystal, but has to recall instantly out, so he takes a little bit of damage. Drop down there. Playing on the backside of the card. Silver 3 going to be pressured. He does not get to use the Primal Rage. Alarm falls up for a second kill. Now Hybe going to be gone. Is used on the Shocheng, trying to keep the one lone tank alive. Rascal, however, finds Crystal again. Gets the pulse bomb down. Alarm finishes him off. 3 kills for him in the fight. Milanron dead. The cart, it makes its way through. It was a great effort at the end by the Valiant, but they just can't quite hold them off for long enough. They drain the clock down. They make the Fusion fight for it, but they cannot stop them from taking this series 3-0.
Silver 3 had a Primal, and Wuya had a Nano. Neither of those were put onto Silver 3. If one of those is put onto Silver 3, he lives, and if he lives, there's a chance. I mean, we had a minute 30 left to go, something like that. It was enough time that Valiant made it possible. Look, we're gonna see this result, and people are gonna tune in later, or maybe they won't tune in. They'll just check the results. Like, I wasn't awake during APAC. Well, I wonder what happened between Philadelphia and Valley. Oh yeah, 3-0, like we expected. But what you'll miss out on if you do that is you don't get to see the fact that look at the points that Valiant got. 1 on the Control, 2 on Eichenwalde, 2 on Gibraltar. Like, they've absolutely put up a fight, and there were moments there. Yeah. I mean, Crystal even flexing on Carpe was pretty hot. It just comes down towards the end. There's too many win conditions for Philadelphia individually. Like, if Carpe is getting fragged by Crystal, how about Alarm just gets a double kill right towards the end to give you a 6v4?
Yeah, I think that both of these teams are kind of in a similar position, just given the recency of the roster kind of coming together. I think that's somewhat fair to say. Obviously, much more well-known names on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, players that have proven themselves. But I think that for the Valiant, being able to put up fights like this on some of these maps, there absolutely is a hope for them to become a regular contender here in the APAC region as the season goes deeper. They're just going to improve. The cohesion is going to build up, and it's very similar, for the side of the Fusion as they continue to develop with Hotba, with Toby, and Rascal. So I think both these teams have a lot more improving that can be done, and I think both have to very much be respected. Obviously, the Fusion already garners enough respect given their history as an organization, their results and whatnot, but you definitely cannot sleep on this Valiant team, because if you get complacent when playing against them, that's when you're going to get punished. That's when you're going to be the first team that drops a series to them.
And I'm going to be honest with you, if you are any of the other APAC teams right now, especially if you haven't played yet, like Hangzhou, like we don't know what Hangzhou is going to be like. You saw Guangzhou getting 0-3 tonight as well. It's just like, if you are not in good form in APAC, Valiant could actually take more than just a map of you. Like 2 maps, maybe 3, and if they take 3, that's a series. So Valiant are deadly enough as a team that they're going to keep everybody else in APAC honest. Like, you cannot walk into a series versus Valiant and just assume that you're going to auto-win this one, because they push Fusion pretty hard tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. They definitely push Fusion. And Fusion are a team that I got pretty high, like especially after last night's result versus Seoul. Fusion, to me, can only become a better team with a little bit more time, and that's scary because Fusion are already pretty dangerous. And even then, Valiant can put up numbers. Crystal can still frag Carpe. Wuya can still do stuff. Milan, Run, Choch, just keep going down the list. I mean, Valiant aren't awful. They're not as good as Fusion, but they're not awful.
Yeah, not at all. So I think they've well and above exceeded the expectations that a lot of people had coming into the season. But guys, let's go ahead and figure out who our player of the match is on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion. And this one, I mean, there was a couple different good options here. This might surprise some people given Carpe's performance, but Alarm is going to be walking away with it.
That's right. You thought maybe it was going to be Carpe again, but no, it's going to be Alarm. Alarm really pulled through big. Look, you have to look towards that final map in particular. Yeah, I'll be honest, Carpe had some great plays. To be fair as well, Rascal, but Rascal was a little bit asleep today. He was first picked multiple times. Alarm steps up though. Whenever you need, I mean, even that, just sees a sleep dart through his entire team. The best stuff is still yet to come because we're looking towards some of the Zenyatta plays. This like 180 sleep into Milan was dirty. And if he doesn't hit Milan, he gets Crystal, and either of those options would have been fantastic, and he obviously is going to collect it. So Alarm is one of those guys in the team that will just find these openings for you. Most of it is going to come through when you think about teams and where you're going to get individual kills, where these openings are going to come from. You look towards DPS, especially hit scans and snipers. But how about Alarm? When you have a flex support this good, you always got to be on your feet. You got to be on toes. You got to be aware of what Alarm is doing, because he's just going to open the game for you. He's going to open up the fight for you, and he's going to be an MVP that's going to win you multiple series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 19 sleeps throughout the set here on the Ana. I mean, he was also playing a phenomenal Zenyatta from time to time throughout there. 27 eliminations, 14 Bionade kills. It was just absolutely perfect from Alarm. So very much was able to, shake things off after that initial first round in downtown on Busan. Didn't have any replication of his issues from just yesterday when they were playing against Seoul Dynasty. So a lot more peel coming through, a lot more protection, and he was a lot more also just self-reliant for himself. So wasn't getting picked off early. So it was a really impressive performance from him and a very well-deserved player of the match. But we're just going to dive straight into it. You guys might have noticed the little logo below us here on the desk over on Avril's side. We're going to go straight into our game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves. Not going to be thrown to an extra little commercial break. So let's just immediately just kind of recap this. I know we've said a lot, so should we just go straight into the crunch time? What do you think, Avril? I'll let you make the call this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we'll give the crunch time over to LA Valiant. We'll talk a little bit more about them, because where were they succeeding? Start with Busan, and Busan really was the opening for them. I think you'd look back on this downtown especially, and you have to examine this as kind of like almost peak Valiant. Like, this is Valiant really hitting all their shots, firing on all cylinders here. Crystal, Milan Run, they're all getting picks. This composition as well, like Identify, when you see this composition coming through from Valiant, and also this variation, like obviously double bubbles, gotta be good as well. Wuya on the Ana was more than reasonable. These kind of plays as well, where that was off the back of Hotbar going for a solo grab, and Shou Cheng's like, I'll receive a nano and just plow through you guys. So Valiant have some good moments here, few and far between versus a team like Fusion. But they were able to outfrag Fusion, especially on Busan, until we got to make a base where, I mean, probably don't want to see them on Sombra Doom again, but when we can get Crystal on a Sniper and get Milan Run on a Tracer, get Shou Cheng onto a Zarya, that's where Valiant have a chance.
Yeah, it just felt like as this went on, there was too much fiddling, especially, as you mentioned, the Doom Fist. Hopefully we never see that again from the side of the Valiant, but it seemed like there was just a little too much fiddling when it came down to the lineups. But when they were here with this set, Crystal on the Ashe, Milan Run on the Tracer, they were firing on all cylinders. Everybody was very cohesive. It seemed like they kind of had a hive mind. Everybody was playing off each other extremely well. And then it unfortunately fell apart. A lot of that did have to do with Carpe and Alarm, really stepping up. But I think that if they can continue to run that comp and get away with it, then we might be seeing Valiant pick up a series sooner rather than later.
Hopefully. I mean, I definitely want to see Valiant win. And if anything, when you have a team like this, again, keeping the rest of the APAC region honest, no one can rest on the laurels. No one can feel comfortable going up against the Valiant. That's what's going to give you a competitive region. People have been saying, look, APAC, across the 8 teams, all very competitive. Anyone can actually take games off each other. You're really seeing why that's the case now. Proof in the pudding. Valiant are not here to just lose to everybody.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, it gives more reason to pay attention to the region to watch. You don't want to have a team that completely gets annihilated every single time, and Valiant clearly are not that either. So the more that they improve, the more interest there's going to be on the APAC region, so we'll get that increased viewership. So we'll have to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. That is going to do it from us here this evening and for the weekend in the APAC region. But, man, it's been a wild start. Avril, congratulations on your first weekend as an official Overwatch League caster. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you beside me for these games. But guys, that does it from us. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.